Timothy Bartlett is exploring a water park that's haunted by a former guest named Billy.
Hi, is anybody here? Hi, Billy. I'm here.
Things are about to get real creepy real fast. Watch.
Could you move something again for me? Oh. Holy sh**.
A chair moves on its own accord upon Timothy's request for Billy the Ghost to move an object and prove himself to be real. Paranormal activity is possible, but the low quality resolution could easily hide a string if there was one. This was not done on purpose as the resolution is average quality for a 2012 phone camera video, so maybe it's real. Something is taking a hold of Michael in this haunted home. Published by D-Doc Michael, the first thing this paranormal explorer finds is this unsettling sickle. After resheathing it, he continues his exploration, only to soon be disturbed by strange noises. The noises continue, reminding him that he's not alone.
예, 감사합니다. 방금 뭐라고 하셨어요? 아이고 씨발.
He hears a rustling while he's outside.
계세요 혹시? 저기.
Inside, he hears something else. Then, while he's arranging some coffee cups, it seems as though he's been shocked. He asks the spirits to speak with him, but they don't answer. Although he does seem to hear something behind him, he follows it down a dark hallway into this room. Something seems to be happening to Michael, though it's unclear what. He returns to the same area to address the spirits, but it seems like the spirits don't want to talk. Instead, they get aggressive. What is taking hold of Michael? Whatever it is seems to want him to remain there forever. I think that's the cue to leave. Time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by Ratliff Wife, this Ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. TikToker Marlene Sanchez 052 thought her partner was joking when he started to behave like something was pulling him. It turns out he wasn't. Watch closely.
When I thought he was joking, but something was really pulling him.
His leg really does look like it's being yanked by something. This is not a natural movement that you make on your own. Some in the comments also note a child's giggle at the beginning of the clip. Is that child actually there? Or is it the child spirit pulling his leg? I think it's the latter, and that's truly terrifying because that kid is strong. If you're going to poke fun at the afterlife, you'd better be willing to cross over yourself. Published in September of 2021, these paranormal investigators dive into the mystical Black Forest, a mysterious place in which the occult and other cryptic happenings occur. Here's what they found. The men immediately try to pester the spirits, preparing a ritual in which incense is burning upside down. This, they say, is intended to insult the spirit, and this spirit apparently doesn't take to the insult kindly. As the group sits and waits, watching the incense burn, while a candle glows beside it, suddenly the plastic bottle the incense was placed in bursts. It flies off the altar, knocking the candlelight out as well. The pair wonder if something flew into it, although it looks more like something burst out of it. What do you think happened here? Does this spirit have a really short fuse? Some fast food places have hidden items on the menu that have to be special ordered, but I don't think that's what's going on during this horrifying moment caught on tape. Buried at the very bottom is what appears at first to merely be a piece of grated cheese, but is far worse than that. A disgusting yellow larva, soon to be a fly, wiggles hello at the camera.
It's moving, man.
He could always get his money back, but that's not the point. I don't see the taco anywhere in this video, so I assume that means it's been eaten already. Bugs and all. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge, the very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off, but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. This Iraqi child is unique from her peers in many different ways, because her skin and hair have no pigmentation at all, but most importantly, her eyes are pure red. The reason she squints into the camera is because her red eyes absorb all of the light instead of reflecting it. Her parents see this rare eye color as a blessing, but some see it as a curse. After all, red eyes are a nearly universal sign of possession in many cultures, though I doubt this is the case here. Some superstitious folks will no doubt be wary of her before they have a chance to better understand. Her red eyes will stay this way for the rest of her life and hopefully cause her no social stigma. John Cater carefully combs through his home looking for the source of what he can only describe as a creepy noise. 1 second the room will be completely silent.
Look at.
And the next minute it sounds like some kind of grinding noise that could drive somebody insane over time.
Oh my god.
It isn't insects either, because listen to how quickly it goes away.
Oh my god.
John eventually traces the noise back to a dark room that he has never really paid any particular attention to before, and apparently something in there wants to keep it that way. It looks like an invisible force slams the door shut from the other side, and we never do get to see what was down there with him, if anything. Things get scary on the open road. This is yet another case of a driver gone a little too ragey. The video is self-explanatory. The Mercedes driver gets out of his car, carrying a metal pole, but the driver is on his toes. Putting pedal to the metal, he speeds off-road and leaves the would-be assailant in the dust. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what little driving infraction happened in the lead-up to this scary incident, no one should spring from their vehicle with a metal pole with the intent of getting revenge. A CCTV gym camera captures this slow-moving white object at 6 in the morning. The strange shape appears to float in midair and even slightly changes form at times. Paranormal or not, experts have been ultimately unable to determine the source of this fluttering figure. I guess it might be a piece of lint or something that got stuck on the lens of the camera, but the way it slowly sways without going anywhere makes me think that this really could be a classic haunting. After setting up a still camera and a spirit box in this haunted apartment's kitchen, other side research captured something unsettling. Watch the left side of the screen. Was that a shadow figure? Let's see it again.
Here you can clearly see something captured in the top left of the screen. It appears just after the spirit box seems to say the word demon. After going over this piece of footage multiple times, none of us can decide what this may have been.
It doesn't look like the usual suspect, an insect, but could it be someone off screen casting this shadow? Without seeing what's going on behind the scenes, I'm hesitant to decide on this one. Joe Rob TV sees something on the side of the road that's so creepy. He isn't even sure if he was imagining it or not, so he has to take a second look. This time he has his camera ready to record.
What the f? Oh, what the f? Oh, what the f?
The strange person slowly approaches with their hands in their pockets, almost like they've been expecting him, and Joe Rob quickly speeds off. It's hard to tell if they are wearing a Halloween mask, or if their facial features are really that oversized and distorted in real life. If they are wearing a mask, it must extend under the shirt, because I can't see where the mask ends and their neckline begins. If you were awoken by vibrations, what would you think was happening? Published by YB Normal in January of 2012, a hotel guest awoke to something reverberating throughout his room in Beijing and reported hearing spine-chilling sounds. Grabbing hold of his camera, he went to the window where he spotted 3 unidentified flying objects in the sky. The dark saucers can be seen in a triangular formation in the distance, while in the background you can hear the disturbing noise that must have woken him. It's one deep, long, vibrating note, like the sound of something hovering. The camera zooms in on the saucers before the video turns off unexpectedly. The uploader says the camera stopped functioning for no reason. Are these extraterrestrials simply observing us Earthlings? Or are they trying to scare us with sleep deprivation? This was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Skateboard Chris. The Redditor wrote, "I accidentally deleted the raw video and not the TikTok that automatically saved, but this is the second time I've caught a light switch turning off and on by itself. My dog reacts too, and when the video zooms in, it does appear that the light switches turn on and off of their own accord." Hawaii Sunburnt 20 commented, "I would be taking apart that light switch. Would you be curious enough to do the same? I'd be getting far away from this haunted house." Yasa is exploring not a tunnel, not a cave, but a haunted well, as in a dark hole straight down. He gets strapped into a pulley system and slowly lowered into the claustrophobic entrance. Right away, he finds a snake at the bottom along with some other scary things that are way more concerning.
في شيء ترى هنا.
A toy blocks a small passage that he can't fit through, but a child can. Perhaps this is where the child who haunts this well crawled to after falling in. As he contemplates this possibility, something comes at him from behind.
المغارة هذه طويلة. هو كهف بس حرارة فيها غير طبيعي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is probably just part of the well, but it also kind of looks like the side profile of a boy's grinning face, rotten teeth and all. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains two students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The two student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. Sean learned about summoning Bloody Mary from a friend. He thought about it for a couple days and then decided to try it for himself to see what happens. First, he tries to summon her with the lights on, and he isn't surprised when that method doesn't work. Next, he tries it with the lights off, which is something that he is a little hesitant to do, and with good reason too. He says her name 3 more times, and this is what he sees.
God!
The hunched over figure behind him gives him a startle, and Sean turns out the lights just to make the terrifying scene go away. When he turns the lights back on, she has vanished. Just like in other videos, the doorknob gets jammed as he tries to leave, and then it suddenly releases. He retreats into the main area of his house and the video ends. I will say that this video could very well be fake. Maybe Bloody Mary is really just his sister or someone else he knows. His reaction seems a little off too, kind of like it could have been staged, but then again, he might have been really frightened and just trying to keep his cool for the camera. It's hard to tell for certain. This police cam footage was taken during a massive wildfire in Sonoma County, California in 2017. Officers are doing what they can to evacuate the public and restore order, but as this brief dashcam video shows, they were up against total chaos at the time.
I dispatched someone from the fire department and tried to dispatch. I asked him, he said he is unaware of which way the fire is going. They have so many fires, they can't really keep track at this point, and they also cannot answer.
Listen closely and you'll even hear the dispatcher say that they can't tell which direction the fire is spreading and seems to be genuinely overwhelmed. I have to salute this officer and all of the other brave public officials who willingly charged into a massive blaze to try and help everyone. Corey and Devin are two YouTubers who have a shared channel where they go on all kinds of adventures as well as family vlogs. They haven't updated in over 2 years, but the videos are still there for all to see, and some of them are, believe it or not, are convincingly paranormal. The videos I'm talking about center around Nona's Pizzeria in Magna, Utah, a family business with a terrible secret, a long-standing curse first brought upon them generations ago by a vindictive small-town witch. The curse is said to have opened a portal to channel forth numerous spirits, including the incorrigible witch herself, who remains as mean and evil as ever in the afterlife. Corey and Devin are not a professional ghost hunting channel by any means, and they have little experience dealing with the paranormal aside from television, but when they get a chance to visit one of the locations they recognize from a show called Ghost Adventures, they are eager to go, and so on October 21st, 2017, they find themselves face to face with the owners and most recent inheritors of the curse. A dark entity haunts this place, old as the building itself. Sometimes it appears to their son as a little girl who wants to play. Sometimes it grabs them by the throat. The owners say that if they try to sell the business, the spirit has confirmed that it will burn it to the ground. They are to live and suffer the curse for all generations to come, or else pay the price through financial ruin. They suspect it's coming from the attic, so the first step is to set up a grid of lasers to see if anything blocks the light. Sure enough, they record this black floating blob on night vision. The rest of the wooden beam is a much lighter color except for the head of the shadow figure. They go into the attic space with cameras and try to catch something up close. It's almost too dark to see anything, but
I have some very creepy vibes. I can see the green lights.
The camera cannot seem to keep focus, almost as if somebody is standing directly in front of Corey, though nobody is there.
They're kind of going in and out.
As soon as they start talking about how the demonic force always seems to congregate in this particular spot, they hear a confirmation. I'll play it with the sound up. Do you hear it?
In this area here.
It was a scream in my opinion, and the K2 meter goes all the way up at the mere mention of its presence. Eventually, they track the exact spot where they think it's standing, and they suspect it needs more electricity in the air to better communicate. They say they are going to give it more energy, and at this point it seems to fully understand.
You're more than welcome to take from this energy, okay?
And true to their theory, when they charge the air with a taser and call it by the old family name of Cooper, they find the ghost is finally able to push the meter into the red, not once but twice.
Come on, Cooper. Thank you. Thank you. Cooper family.
Yes, is that who it is?
Are we right? Are we right?
All within 11 seconds, so I think something is standing with them and it's not real. But soon a different force sweeps across the room, possibly the witch. They use a simple yes or no communication method to determine that whoever they are talking to wishes to do them harm.
Are you trying to use our weakness? Are you trying to use my weakness against me? See?
By now, the Coopers seem to have fully retreated, and the attic feels much different now, like an intruder is here. And when they break out the heavy equipment for an EVP session to determine if they are correct about this change, this single word is broadcast very clear. Evil. Do you think this says evil like they claim? Because I hear it, and when they try to tell it to clarify, it has 3 words that I also hear quite well. Tell me if you can hear it too, or if you think something else is being said.
Try to focus a little stronger and make it come out a little clearer, please. On your name.
I think it's pretty clear that the curse is legit, and maybe they should make the spirit stay true to its word and leave this place for good. A YouTuber named SE Styles is camping in the woods of Hinton, Canada, when he hears the last thing that anyone wants to hear just outside of their tent. A lone wolf's howl pierces through their conversation and renders both SE Styles and his friend silent as night sets in. They soon realize they are vastly outnumbered. If anyone watching this happens to be an animal wildlife expert, I'd like to know if these wolves were howling because they were aware of the human presence nearby, or if this was for some other reason. Perhaps this was a warning to SE Styles not to come any closer. Although I'm sure he and his friend did not need any extra convincing. There's a famous pub in Sydney, Australia called the Carlisle Castle Hotel. For years, this local watering hole has been haunted by the ghost of Old Pete, a bitter ex-employee who left the earth quite some time ago, but not his job. His ghostly antics have been caught on camera no less than 3 times. The first time Pete was caught on tape, he was helping a customer. The unsuspecting man opens the door to the cooler when Pete decides to grab 2 bottles of red wine for himself. His ghost grip must have not been too tight though, because both bottles go crashing to the floor. Looking at the footage, there's no way that the shelf gave out or anything like that. The bottles were thrown to the ground with deliberate force with no one nearby. Another incident occurred when the bar was full of witnesses. Everyone is happily enjoying themselves when a hanging red wine glass suddenly dislodges itself and smashes into the counter. Glass shards fly everywhere and the entire bar takes notice. Although this could have simply been a freak accident, what are the chances that, of all the red wine glasses, the one that's directly underneath the server happens to be the one to fall and break? The timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Old Pete strikes again. The third and final tape reveals a glimpse of Old Pete himself. The bar is empty this time when the angry ghost suddenly materializes in front of the security camera. If you look closely, you can make out Old Pete's head at the bottom of the screen. He appears to be waving. Many other bartenders and customers all claim to have seen Old Pete for themselves in one way or another. It isn't uncommon for tapes to turn on by themselves, and the bartenders have seen what they can only describe as strange things while counting down their registers after close. To make this all even stranger, all of the bottles that go crashing to the floor are always high-end red wines. This just so happened to be Old Pete's favorite drink, at least when he was still with the living. This video was supposedly caught on a home residence security system. All of the rooms look normal until this possessed stuffed animal suddenly springs to life. I thought I could see a string at first, but it's clearly a cord that's plugged into the wall. On the other hand, this doesn't really look like actual CCTV footage at all, so maybe it's just a prank. If you had a chance to visit a haunted hospital, would you? YouTubers Ogden Paranormal became this haunted hospital's reluctant patients when they stepped into Asylum 49. Published to YouTube in September of 2019, Ogden Paranormal wrote, "The old 2L Hospital is one of the most haunted places in Utah, if not the most haunted. This location was made famous by the Ghost Adventures crew, who have now visited twice due to the incredible evidence they captured the first go-around. Ogden has investigated this place several times, and this time they returned to investigate who or what scared them out of the place years prior." A little background on the old 2L Hospital. As one of Utah's major paranormal sites, the underfunded hospital was without a morgue, leaving the passed away stacked and waiting for their paperwork. Patients have stuck around the place, showing themselves even to those retired folk who resided in and what remained of the building. It's said that sightings of ghost children often precede someone's passing. Others believe the child ghosts are actually demons, and they aren't the only spirits that appear there. A nurse in white roams the hallways, a man dressed in black appears at 3 a.m., and a little girl has been known to appear and then vanish. So who did Ogden Paranormal encounter during their investigation? Let's see firsthand. Granted, this asylum has been turned into a haunted house, so much of the creepiness you see in the video is set up to appear that way, but other things can't really be explained. About 4 minutes in, they head into the nursery, where a creepy old lady statue is posed. They are alone back here, or so they think. Look at the window to the left. Something passes beyond, creating a shadow figure in the frame. It moves out of frame once they come nearer the old lady. Later on, two of the crew see a figure down one hallway. As they're slowly making their way down the hallway, a giggle is heard in one of the rooms. The room is empty apart from some freaky mannequins.
Where you at, Wes?
Later, while all gathered in a conference room, they hear footsteps.
What's that?
Have you not moved?
Nope.
You guys heard those footsteps over here, right? I thought that was you, man.
During their ghost box session, spirits are responding with frequency. One tells them good luck repeatedly, and one of the spirits brings up Skittles, which had been part of the conversation on a previous visit to the asylum. Little anomalies and disembodied breathing are also heard throughout the investigation. Makes you wonder, are there spirits here? Or are these mannequins about to come? A TikToker named Jordan Dreyer rides down a rainy road when he and his friends see a lone woman crossing the road. Upon seeing them, she stops and turns their way.
What the fuck?
Her white robes fluttering in the wind, and considers them as they pass. Her face is gray and ashen, as pale as her clothing, which I guess could be makeup, I guess if this video isn't real. But as they pass, when the video plays frame by frame, one of her eyes seems to glow unnaturally, possibly marking the exact moment when a curse passes between them, and possibly onto anyone who watches this video, including you. I will say that this could be scripted. There are no other cars on the road, but they are traveling at a slow speed, almost as if they knew she was there. But like I said, the weather wasn't good that night, so maybe he's being a safe driver. Another possibility is that something bad had just happened to a real person and she needed their help, in which case whatever she was trying to get away from could have very well caught up with her again after they drove away. A man in Malaysia is being haunted by a paranormal activity that stays right outside his home. He has the door partially open to show that there's not anyone knocking on his door. When he opens the door fully, it's gone, but only until nightfall. When he goes to look outside, nothing is there. Nothing except for this bizarre sighting in the distance.
Baru terjadi sekarang nih, Bob.
If you were thinking this is a ray of light reflecting into the camera, so did I, but that same night he claims the figure looked at him through the window, and here you can see its hooded face with large, hollow black eyes. The fact that this is an image when the rest is video makes me think this is a Photoshop that he doesn't have the editing skills to make into a video, but seeing this makes me want to look over my shoulder at the window behind me nonetheless. Something in the woods is about to blow this cop's mind and his eardrums. He walks back with wide eyes and puts his flashlight away, completely done with the situation until backup arrives, but backup doesn't seem to do much better. I think this could be a recording because the scream sounds exactly the same both times. So maybe somebody put a really good speaker system in the woods, or maybe that's just what I'm choosing to believe because I don't want to accept that this is real. This video was taken at night in a parking garage somewhere in West India. A woman was apparently acting normal until she was suddenly attacked by what some bystanders later described as a ghost. Watch this part and tell me if you think she is having delusions or fighting off a spiritual possession. Try to translate if possible too, please. I did not think much of this video until I noticed what could be a strange paranormal disturbance. Some kind of fast-moving white objects repeatedly appeared during the harshest times of her struggle, like here for instance. Poor camera quality makes it hard to tell if these are some kind of spirit orbs or just insects. If these are insects and nothing more, I find it weird that there are only just a few of them, and how they only seem to appear during key moments of the video when she is in the most distress. It's 6 in the morning, and a YouTuber named Sheezy is about to go home after a long shift at the hospital. All he needs to do is return this 1-ton x-ray machine and then clock out. Unfortunately for him, the elevator gets stuck on the 5th floor and suddenly drops to the 1st floor without warning. It happens so fast that the floor numbers don't even register until the very end, but it's not over yet. The elevator rushes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, ready to drop again, and if that x-ray machine slides back and pins him against the wall, it wouldn't matter if he's at a hospital or not, because it's going to flatten him in seconds. This time, he hits the emergency stop before he can drop again. After a minute and a half, engineers rush to get him out of there. 3 photos and videos were shared on Facebook in Indonesia, showcasing the same strange phenomenon in the sky, posted by Mr. Potek in November of 2019, with a video credited to Setiawan. The unidentified object was filmed in Aceh, backlit by a bright moon. This mysterious flying or floating object appears to just hang there at the side of the moon. The object isn't shaped like a flying saucer, but its origins are equally as mysterious, viewed at several different angles. I don't come any closer to recognizing what this object is. The local police were reportedly terrified by its appearance. Should they be? What do you think it is? Spirits seem to love to announce their presence by turning the lights on and off. Before we had flashlights, it was oil lanterns and candles. The scary phenomenon continues in a haunted house in South Wales when a spirit is told to show a sign. Startled, they investigate the incident by asking the ghost to communicate through this light. It's hard to tell from this creepy video if the flickering is a faulty wire or paranormal activity. A strange grin across his face at 1 minute and 47 seconds is a difficult response to read. A scared and nervous reaction is probably it. He's really being brave. Only a true ghost hunter can smile through their fear. Do you feel like you're being watched? Maybe you are. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Gage the Sun. This short clip will have you looking over your shoulder. Titled Eyes Out of Nowhere. There is no explanation for this footage. The clip shows two bright blinking eyes in the darkness hidden just beyond a pillar. They blink and then open once more. Then the dim light goes black and this pair of glowing eyes are all you can see. Don't look into the dark corner of your room after watching this clip, or your imagination will keep you up all night. Mega Skelly 11 is a YouTuber who has been experiencing all sorts of strange paranormal activity throughout their home. Sometimes it's something simple like a potted plant wobbling on its own, and sometimes it's much more malevolent. Mega Skelly 11 claims that this is a poltergeist, and after reviewing this video, I have to agree. There's just too much going on at once to easily fake this in my opinion, and I see no indication that this is a setup. Let me know if you believe this is real, or if you have a better explanation. Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye, at least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? A Narrow-Not369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observed that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? A Reddit user named Addison W has posted one of the creepiest things ever caught on doorbell cam to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A large, scary man bikes up to their front door and has this to say.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
The creepy man has his face covered and a light on his head that could be used to better see into people's windows. I don't know which is creepier, the fact that he has apparently been looking into the windows of random people's homes, or the fact that he calmly confesses it to them later into their doorbell cameras. At any rate, I really hope this person is just a random stranger with a dark sense of humor and not somebody who has developed an obsession. Unfortunately, I think the chances are very high that this is somebody who is extremely messed up and cannot help themselves. Hopefully the police find him before any of his compulsions grow even worse.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
A woman is practicing a presentation while her friend films, but they both become distracted by the poltergeist in the room. TikToker Real Scary Video shares this footage.
1, 2, 3, go. Okay na? Now that I have introduced myself to the patient, verify the client's... Now that I have introduced myself to the patient, explain the procedure.
First, the light flickers.
Verify the client's identity and provide...
Ano ito?
Sige pa din, sige na.
Then something disturbs the closet.
Now that I have introduced myself to the patient.
While we can't see what made the noise, I'm pretty sure whatever it was lost its patience. Talk about a non-supportive ghost.
Ano ito?
Sige na. O, tara. 1, 2, 3, go. Now that I have introduced myself to the patient.
Unidentified flying device sightings, ranging from Manhattan to Brazil, is enough to make anyone at least a little nervous. A YouTuber named Lazara Black saw this bright soundless blip moving fast across a Miami night sky on March 19th, 2020. It pauses in midair and is soon joined by another ball of light that moves effortlessly and without noise. Whatever these are, they aren't a normal aircraft, and they certainly aren't slow falling flares. A second Miami YouTuber named James Black confirms this sighting with a second video, also uploaded on March 19th, 2020. The glowing orb is too big to be a drone and moves so quietly that you can hear the nighttime crickets chirping away. Listen. About a week later, this Manhattan sighting was uploaded by YouTuber Plumber33789 Peebles. What looks like a lightning storm produces no visible bolts, and then the same familiar lights rise together in a triangular pattern. All of them fly out of sight, but this final one simply disappears into the clouds, so I'm guessing that's what the rest did as well. Did we just witness a fleet of unidentified flying devices taking off? I think so. And I've saved the weirdest video for last. This was taken on March 13th by a YouTuber in Brazil named Frederico Mueller, who has been seeing these strange lights for months now. This video proves that they are abnormally bright, perhaps even radioactively so, to the degree that they burn bright white even when behind a cloud in broad daylight. And his dogs are going crazy too, the kind of restless barking when danger is approaching. Not quite here yet, but soon. I don't know if this creature meant to swim up to them, but it did, and so they bring it on the pier.
Yep.
You watching it swimming?
Mm-hmm. That thing is freaky.
I think it's a giant worm, but at the same time, I can almost see an alien-like face here at 1 minute before it goes out of focus. It's looking up at him, and here are the eyes, and this is the mouth. And what that slime is, I simply don't know. Everyone needs to help me to identify this thing. Otherwise, it's no sleep for me tonight, I'm afraid. Jake Toffee is in his living room when someone pulls open the screen door really slowly and just lets it shut. No follow-up knock, no footsteps walking away, nothing. Even his dog is wondering what the deal is. Jake stops recording to check and claims no one was outside. It's creepy, but it's too bad he didn't record out of his window to prove that his house is as haunted as he says it is. In wandering around this abandoned building, strange apparitions appear everywhere. Published by Clip Hantu, this scary video is like the Where's Waldo of creepy figures. See if you can spot them all. Notice this thing on the ledge wasn't there a moment before. It looks like a head of hair or a wig. In the next room, you see a dark figure in the corner. As the camera swings back, it's disappeared. And with the flashlight turned on, you can see the room is completely empty. In a kitchen area, there's a pot on the counter at first. Now, there seems to be a split in the clip, but the next time we see the same counter, the creepy object has replaced it. That thing looks like a shrunken head. Have these items been placed? Or is this the world's worst treasure hunt? The first and third items do look to me like they were placed. There is a cut in the video in each of these instances, but that shadow figure, that's harder to explain. Makes me think this place is truly haunted after all. Have you ever had a night stalker? Andrew J. Neese has. He published this chilling video in May of 2011. The footage is of a man dressed in a black hoodie standing outside his bedroom window. The uploader appears to be located on an upper floor, and the stranger is standing below it in plain view staring up at the window. In the video description, Andrew explains, "In the spots where the audio cuts out, I did that myself because I was telling the 911 lady my name, address, and phone number, and didn't want the personal info online, especially not with this weird guy outside." He tells the 911 operator that the man has been standing there in the alley for about 30 minutes, basically right in the middle of the road just staring at him.
Hi, yeah, there's this guy just like standing outside my window. And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now.
As many in the comments section have noted, the scene is terrifying. Some suggest to open the window and ask him what he's doing, though I'm not sure if that's a good idea. It is unknown what happened after this recording stopped. This old VHS tape of a girl dancing is definitely paranormal, at least if you believe what the uploader Sharon Bailey has to say. First, an orb floats up towards the child between the 13 and 14 second mark. Shortly afterwards, a strange mist fills the air. Maybe it's something else, but I'm not sure because it seems to specifically wrap itself around the child. The last part is what has Sharon convinced that this is paranormal. She says that there were no other children in the house, but 31 seconds into the video, another little girl runs by at full speed. Her footsteps don't make a single sound. Take a listen. The camera was picking up little coughs and other background noise, so it definitely should have recorded running footsteps. Also, neither the dancing girl nor the dog seem to notice anyone is running straight towards them. This video shows a concerned sister checking in on her sleeping sibling. I'm not sure why she would be holding a camera to do so, but I guess she wanted to record the moment. A girl she has never seen before is hovering over her sister's bed without saying a word, and when she turns to leave to get help, the ghostly child teleports in the doorway to block her.
Are you alright? Oh my god!
The girl standing in the door does look like the same girl who is just standing by the bed. They are wearing the same outfit and have the exact same hair length and color, so I guess it's possible that this was a spirit. Then again, if this was staged, then maybe there was a second girl who was standing in the doorway the whole time to make it look like they teleported. Barack Aliye offers this video as proof that his house is haunted, but maybe there is more to it than that. Listen to this part and tell me if you can hear a fan or some kind of air current or really anything that could be causing the door to slam like this. I've seen a draft cause a door to slam shut one time, but never over and over. Have you? Barack records the top and bottom of the door to show that no one is near it, so this absolutely has to be a 1 in a million problem with the ventilation system, or else the supernatural at work.
Don't start going up! Stop! Please, go! Oh my... Put on the brakes! Guys, stop!
A bus driver in Alfred, New York was accused of drinking and driving and was given a 90-day jail sentence. The event was caught on camera after 56-year-old Martha Thompson was ordered by students to stop operating the bus, an order that was ignored. There were 37 students on the bus after Thompson took them at a 70-mile-per-hour clip through their journey, hit a mailbox, and even started rolling backwards down a hill, as can be seen in the video. The older students tried to convince Thompson to stop, but she was defiant. They kept insisting that she was not okay and should turn off the vehicle. When she continued to refuse, they accused her of scaring the small children on the bus, which she was. When she also refused to open the door, the older kids took matters into their own hands and began shepherding the students out the back door emergency exit, while Thompson repeatedly shouted, "You can't get off the bus." Thompson's defense attorney said she never ever would intentionally put any of those children in any type of risk. The fact that my client has no criminal history. No one was injured, but this has been a really good thing because it's turned her life around, and now she's getting the help that she needs. While it's all very well and good that the driver is getting help, her blood alcohol level was 0.15. The DMV notes a BAC of 0.04 for commercial drivers can result in a DUI or DWI conviction nationwide. She's incredibly lucky that no children were harmed in this incident of negligence. While most hospitals have some stories to tell, I'm guessing a World War II hospital has even more grisly ones on the docket. In this video, published by Subi in November of 2017, he and his friends explore an abandoned World War II hospital in Milton Keynes. For some reason, they chose the dead of night for their exploration, so straight off the mark, the hospital looks scary simply because it's cloaked in darkness. The only guiding light is the beam from Subi's flashlight. The crew enters in through a broken window. The pair have apparently been in the hospital before because one of them says he's not going down a certain direction because that's where they hear things all the time. At one point they stop to listen because they both say they've heard something. It isn't clear what they've heard, but they continue on regardless. It sounds as if there's loads of glass on the ground as they walk through the building, cracking and breaking the shards beneath their boots. While the hospital doesn't turn up anything truly mind-blowing, the idea that World War II patients were once brought here conjures up images of scary times, or maybe that's just my imagination. This video looks like it was intentionally set up to capture something that has been appearing in a closet lately. At first, you can't really see anything, but after a while, the shadows begin to form into a human-like figure. The shadowy shape peeks out from behind the door, and at one point even appears to have two bright white eyes. The grainy quality of this video is a strong indication that it was edited. But then again, this may be a very old cell phone video, or perhaps a very early internet video that needed to be heavily compressed before uploading. A Dutch YouTuber named Govert Sweep and his friends go well past their limits while exploring an old place in the forest that's scary enough to have them jumping at every noise, of which I'll admit there's way too many.
Absurd dat daar nu iemand boven is. Wat was dat? Was jij dat?
I've heard of a house settling, but this sounds like the opposite. Like a spooky house is ramping up in a bad way. A haunted place where everything has gone wrong long ago.
Wat was dat dan? Je was nou toch? Je was nou toch? Je was nou toch?
I probably would have already been out of there, but they decide to keep seeing what there is to find, which is one of the shadiest entrances to any basement I've ever seen.
Oh, nee.
They go down there long enough to record only a few seconds of footage before getting out fast, and for good reason. Yes, something scary could be lurking among the rubble, but there are also structural concerns as well. The place looks ready to collapse on them, so they made the right decision because no scary ghost or creature video is worth taking that kind of risk. It's just another ordinary night until a number of strange events happen just outside of someone's front door. A bizarre whooshing noise is followed by blinking lights and the sound of something clicking off camera. I thought it was a turn signal, but the description of this video says that this was actually the sound of lights clicking on and off. Nothing happens for a while, and then the unidentifiable sound briefly returns. Some people have pointed out that this could have been a heavily compressed video of cars passing by. I agree that this is a possibility, but that still doesn't explain the lights turning on and off or the clicking noise. I'd like to hear your best guess as to what this residential disturbance could be. Paranormal, unknown flying device, or just some late night street traffic. Whoever shot this footage claims to have been filming back in 2008. They were exploring an abandoned house and decided to start filming after hearing a strange noise. It's a very short clip since it wasn't long before they were running out of the house screaming. Reviewing the footage again, you can clearly see that this is not an ordinary forest creature. Its front legs bend inwards as it runs, kind of like a human running on all fours. It doesn't appear to have much of a face, yet it can somehow make a terrifying scream. The humanoid appears to be ready for the cameraman as soon as he opens the door. It approaches aggressively, but also with a hint of caution, for it rushes at the cameraman at only half speed. It also doesn't seem to pursue him when he starts running, which means it's probably just claiming its territory and wants to be left alone. The YouTuber who uploaded this video says that this is not their only encounter with the creature. Another time they were exploring the abandoned house with a friend and a knife. They peer into the house from the front yard and listen for any signs of the creature inside. They don't hear anything, so they decide to go further in to investigate. That's when they hear its disturbing warning cries. It sounds like a mix between a squealing pig and some sort of enraged dinosaur. The two quickly turn off their flashlights and remain quiet in the dark. Then they slowly get up and start sneaking away, but just when they think they are safe.
The heck is that? Oh, shoot, go! Shoot! Just get out of the house! Get out of the house! Just get back to the house! Just get back to the house! Jesus Christ.
They run back full speed to their nearby home. When they review the footage, they vow to go back to the property the next day with guns, but they never got the courage to follow through. Since the monster never chased them in either video, perhaps it was just as uncertain of them as they were of it. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. A YouTuber named Backpacker Tampan and his friend Tom go ghost hunting in Indonesia. They want to explore an old hotel, but to get there they have to go through some scary woods and cross a narrow bridge over rushing waters, a bridge with some sketchy areas missing. A few planks too many if you ask me. When they get inside the hotel, they find themselves in awe of the sheer size of the place and somehow get split up. This room in particular absolutely refuses to stay in focus, and it feels to him like someone could be near. And someone in the comments says that a shadow person is hanging around the doorway outside of the room 4 seconds later. It's nothing more than his reflection if you ask me. Weird, but not paranormal. But then he records movement across the doorway at the exact moment he thinks Tom is near.
Maybe he's downstairs. Oh, very dark, I can see. Tom?
Whatever this is we're looking at, it isn't Tom. It seems to follow him from floor to floor wherever he goes. Eventually, Tom is found, and together at that moment, they sense a third presence standing next to them.
Okay, we might gonna record here, I think. Can you do it with your phone? Recorder.
I think it sounds like editing because you can hear a bass line if you listen closely, like it's part of a song.
Can you do it with your phone?
Tell me if you think this really happened, or do you think it was added later?
Can you do it with your phone?
A group of divers go exploring off Miller's Point in South Africa, a place where giant sea life can pose quite a problem, but it's not what they find that makes this diving video scary, so much as what it is they lose. At 4 minutes and 17 seconds, one of them starts to thrash around and has to be extracted by two friends. He has lost his sense of direction because everything is one color, no floor, no ceiling, and easy to lose track of unless you keep focus. Now up has become down, left has become right. He has no idea where he is and his mind is spinning, a condition known as vertigo. Once you are in this confused state, it's easy to keep swimming farther down because you think you are going to reach the surface at any moment. Eventually, the underwater pressure becomes too much to handle and you can guess the rest. When they bring him to the surface, you can see that it's a good thing they intervened in time. He later says he blacked out and doesn't remember any of the scary moments they've caught on camera. There was little chance of him reaching the surface on his own, and he pretty much owes them his life. So take this video as an example why you should never go diving alone unless you want to risk the same thing happening to you with no one to save your life. Many human disappearances can be explained, but not this one. Published to TikTok by Horror Talk, this is one of the strangest things ever caught on CCTV. The scary video shows two young boys walking a dirt path. Nothing is around them and they appear to be in a rural area, not a city. As they're walking, all of a sudden the kid to the right is zapped into oblivion. His friend looks over for a moment and finds his friend has vanished. He then runs off in fear for his own life. TikToker Void Z notes in the comments that there is an X on the ground, and the boy stepped right in the middle of it. Could it have been a teleportation route of some kind? If so, where did this poor boy end up? It appears something quite nefarious is happening here. Donnie and Tony partner up to form a freaky ghost hunting channel called Donton Paranormal. This time the pair are exploring a spooky cemetery known only as the Labyrinth. Exact location unknown. What they found in this haunted place is beyond words and without explanation. Watch the far doorway and you'll see it too. The thing that weirded them out for life.
Don't pull in.
As you can see, a tall figure blocks the top of the stairs. When they get too close, the peculiar shadow curiously disappears. After reviewing the evidence, Donton Paranormal wonders if they've actually captured a real ghost on video. They didn't notice the creepy shadow until reviewing the tape much later. The shadow figure looks creepy and appears to have no natural source, at least not one from our side of this world. Tell me if you think this was a true sighting, and more importantly, if you would be brave enough to go up to that door and face whatever that was. I don't think I could ever return for a follow-up investigation, but I hope they do. A paranormal investigator named I Am Frankie Speed sets up motion tracking equipment in his house to capture a ghost on tape. After a while, he finds a strange figure creeping up his wall and hugging a mirror. He gets up and shows the mirror. Nothing here looks like a person, at least nothing that I can see, but I think shining the Kinect directly into a mirror might cause it to glitch out. What do you think?
Okay, we're out here fishing off lawn. Oh my God, it's gonna hit the boat. There it is, right down there, mate.
That's the reaction of two fishermen as an unidentified shark heads towards their boat for a closer look. It passes by them 3 times before getting way too close for comfort. This is when the two friends finally decide to make a retreat.
Oh my God. Oh, alright. Oh, all right, let's go. Is there anyone? Oh my God, that.
This is, in all likelihood, just a great white shark, but other people are saying it's too big to be a great white and that the markings are slightly different. In their opinion, this could just be a fledgling megalodon shark that was recently born. Let me know if you agree with them, or if you think this was a great white. A man in Indonesia goes exploring the most haunted places of his home country to unlock supernatural myths of a different official nature, hence the channel's name. Out here, the ghost world has formed communities deep in the rainforest. He knows this place well and senses one near.
Allahu Akbar.
Standing before him is an eerie apparition that gives me anxiety, like something has gone wrong. The paranormal exploration does not end with him running away. He has become strangely at ease around them, less terrified over time, or maybe okay with them all along.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu la ilaha illallah.
After a little more exploring, our adventurer finds a second spirit and does not come as near. He might be afraid, but I think he's simply respecting their space. I did some research and this creepy video looks like a possibly real ghost sighting of a Pocong spirit, seen mostly in Indonesia and Malaysia. It's said that the spirit's appearance under the shroud depends on the current state of their physical body. In other words, if he were to look underneath, he would see how rotten they were, but he dares not do such a thing. These are his ancestors, and he might have wanted to show us that there are real ghost videos on the internet if you know where to look, and that a ghost haunting the woods doesn't automatically mean it's one of the scariest places in the world. It's a really good point, but this scary video's got me freaked out nonetheless. Who's there? Your worst nightmare. Posted by Deadhead Gillies to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor says there's something knocking in the walls, and we don't have to take her word for it because she has video proof. It sounds like someone is knocking insistently at the door, only there's no one there. She says this has continued for 2 months. She's not the only one to have had such an experience. Redditor Ritual Maniac writes in the comments that the same knocking pattern occurred at a house she once lived in, along with other paranormal happenings like voices, doors opening, running, etc. When they moved, everything, including the nightmares and unexplainable bad feelings, all vanished. The Redditor says this knocking wasn't heard initially and just started happening randomly as of late. At one point when her boyfriend lived there, he even heard laughing and whispering. The Redditor said after sending the videos to her grandmother, a pastor was supposed to come and visit, but of course an ongoing event began earlier this year and prevented that. Some in the comments think it's the pipes, others say it's likely a pesky animal, but myself and many others are leaning towards the paranormal. Game of Onions writes, let him in already, must be cramped in there, but I wouldn't take that advice. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class? While out kayaking on Yale Lake, this man soon realizes he isn't alone. Published by Crypto D-Nut in June of 2017, the kayaker captures bubbles surfacing from the bottom of the lake, and not just a couple, like enough where the lake looks like a hot tub with the jets on. The kayaker films the strange bubble patch and remarks that there's no current.
Just bubbles coming from the bottom of the lake. No current.
Then he puts his camera underwater. You can see the bubbles floating up, but you can't see the source. Back out of the water, something enormous erupts in the lake. A huge bubble breaks, right where the YouTuber's friend was kayaking a moment before.
What the What the What the just happened?
Leaves and mud have surfaced, and the guys say it stinks. What is this? Is there a lake monster in these waters? Commenter Stephenopoulos likely has the explanation. He writes in the comments that this is concentrated gas that is sometimes produced in anaerobic environments and can suffocate you when released. Others add it was likely a methane pocket burst built up by plant matter decomposing at the bottom of the lake. Opoulos warns if you ever see that, get as far away as possible. Well, not a lake monster. The reality is still very frightening. In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away. Well, the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape. But the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the two others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found. A person checks their CCTV to catch whoever busted their side view mirror. It's on the sidewalk side, and therefore absolutely couldn't have been a car. The video does not end at all as expected when a phantom force snatches the mirror and gives it a twist. Then again, maybe a manufacturer's bolt or something came loose here at 2 seconds. Point is, I've never seen a car mirror do something like this all by itself before. Have you? This apartment has a rogue poltergeist on the loose, and Seeker of Ghosts has come to tame it. First, the poltergeist demands that you wash your hands. In fact, he's pretty adamant about it. He then takes another tack. And later shuts the investigator in. Bored, he switches the TV on. Then this happens.
Какого хрена?
After that, it's no holds barred. Later, as the investigator talks to the camera, the poltergeist becomes the director.
Я пока в таких догадках, что
I don't know about you, but I don't think the taming is working yet. This dirt road has its own security guard. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in February of 2021, a team faces off with a mysterious figure on a deserted road. As they drive in the middle of the night, wolves are howling all around. The atmosphere is unsettling. As they turn a corner and head down a hill, a figure in a black robe is captured up ahead in the headlights. Wearing a hood that blocks their face, the figure starts to slowly walk toward the vehicle, which backs up in response. The figure continues to approach the vehicle even after it's reversed far enough to not be a threat. While many in the comments are saying the figure was likely not a ghost since it casts a shadow, others are calling the footage scary and dangerous regardless. If not a ghost, who is this person and what do they want? These paranormal investigators use a flashlight to communicate with their ghostly counterparts. Published by Mackie and Amanda in April of 2022, the pair explore the haunted Cosmopolitan Hotel in San Diego. The girls talk to the spirits in the hotel, requesting that they interact with this dangling string, and the spirits respond.
Just touch that string one time. Did you see that?
And if you're watching it, because I'm watching you hold the things completely still, I watched like how far it was going up against the line, you know? It definitely moved further.
It looked like someone touched a string about a foot up.
I don't understand, there's no wind.
Either.
Later, while sitting in bed, they hear repeated noises. They check to see if someone is walking outside on the balcony, but no one's there.
Oh, God. Oh. Do you hear that? No.
There's no one here, Amanda.
I haven't seen really anyone at this place.
I haven't either.
Then the water starts to drip in the bathroom, and it continues to sound like someone is in their room.
I think room 11 was the one that they said. Sounds like someone's in here.
They ask the spirits to turn the flashlight off and then back on. After asking the spirits to repeat this act, the flashlight turns off and the REM pod in the bathroom goes off as well.
Can you turn the flashlight off? All the way, completely off. Mikey, turn it off.
The spirits continue communicating with the girls through the flashlight. They find out that they're speaking to a ghost named Isadora. She confirms it's her through the REM pod.
Okay,
wait. Isadora, if that's you, okay? I was gonna say, can you go over to that REM pod we have in the bathroom?
That red light.
That red light that was just beeping. Can you make it start going off again? Can you make it start beeping?
We'll give you like 15 seconds. So she said yes.
Oh my God.
The correspondence continues for a long while, with Isadora being very communicative. Mackie and Amanda return to talk to her later.
I feel like no one's here.
No one's here right now. Just give it a minute.
Isadora? What was that? What is that? Wait, what is that? What's shaking?
They check out early because they're understandably creeped out. It sounds like there's many unseen residents of this hotel, and they're not leaving anytime soon. World-famous athlete Lionel Messi was the world's highest-paid soccer player for 6 years straight, and before I get flooded with comments, let's all acknowledge the sport is called football everywhere else in the world besides North America. But Messi also has another distinction, being one of the only soccer players to have a paranormal moment caught on live television. He is doing an interview from home when this mysterious figure is seen in the window. This could be someone from the media, but there's only one problem. This seems to be an interview done over the computer, meaning no need for a television crew here. Messi doesn't seem fazed by the figure, so it might have been a family member or a friend in the room with him. With that said, the way they stand still as a statue the whole time has people wondering if this was a real ghost sighting video or not. If this were paranormal, I think he would have turned around, but unless he addresses the video, I guess we won't know for sure. Fear Hides Here, published to YouTube in July of 2021, this investigative team encountered something sinister. While investigating in broad daylight, the crew only just enters the creepy abandoned house when a scary loud racket is heard.
Mau cheiro insuportável. Pelo amor de Deus. Mas nem chegamos aqui, o que foi isso?
Something is thrown against the wall in another room and sounds like it breaks apart. In one room, the investigators break out an EMF sensor, which starts beeping dramatically when it's held up toward one part of the ceiling.
Ah, será que dá pra olhar aqui em cima, aqui, ó? Ó, parei.
One of the crew boosts another up to the crawl space in the ceiling to see what's triggering the device. It looks like the crawl space was being lived in at one point, as a pair of shoes and a book or pamphlet is up there amongst the soot and garbage. As they realize the book is a diary, banging is heard in the next room. Something is opening and closing the door.
Tá cheio de nome, mano.
Caramba, cara.
Foi isso, cara?
Não sei, foi só pegar isso aqui.
Olha aqui a porta, cara. Olha a porta.
Nossa, velho. Que isso, mano?
It looks like the hidden figure doesn't want that diary to be read. The cameraman checks outside, but there's nothing. A short while later, another bang is heard, and that's when the diary spontaneously combusts. Cameraman is holding the diary when a corner of the paper catches fire. He throws it to the ground in surprise.
Ô, vamos ficar esperto, porque aqui é eternite, mano. Se varar alguma coisa aqui. Olha lá, ali, ó, tá caindo ali, ó. Caramba, cara. Ei, ô, o negócio. Oxi, velho.
Pegou fogo do nada?
When he picks it back up, a glass breaks in the next room.
Nossa, cara. Cara, o negócio começou a pegar fogo aqui do nada. Tem uns símbolos aqui, ó.
Ali, ó.
O que tá escrito aí em volta desse símbolo?
Puta que pariu, o que é isso?
Velho.
Causing him to throw it down again. When they gain the courage to pick it up again, another bang is heard, although its source remains unseen.
Tinha Lúcio Te Adoro por aqui. Toma, filho.
Olha aqui, que é isso, velho? Nossa, puta que pariu.
Nossa, mano. As abelhas.
Mano, será que... Nossa, mano.
They enter another room, clearly afraid of what's going on around them and the entity that they've made angry.
Será que
sai da porta, espera ela se esconder um pouco, velho.
Que jeito, cara. Aqui, o negócio tá caindo aqui, velho. Aqui, ó.
Aqui é laje, vem aqui, aqui é laje. Vem pra cá.
Puta que pariu, a casa vai cair, mano.
Feio, a gente ficou... Vai ficar preso aqui um tempo, mano.
Later, they are simply standing in a room capturing video when a fire lights beneath one crew member's feet unbeknownst to him.
E agora, velho?
Tá pegando fogo aí, filho.
Another runs towards him and pulls him away, and the fire goes out on its own. For the grand finale, they enter the main room, and one of the crew appears to see something in a gap in the roof. A scary shadow leaves the gap as something breaks, causing the crew to vacate the premises ASAP.
Caraca, feio.
Mano, vamos como é que é? E agora, cara? Ali, ó. Puta que pariu. Vamos.
Nossa, mano.
Nossa, velho. Vai, sai, sai.
What was in that diary? Something incriminating? We'll never know because the spirit doesn't want us to. Jack Cook's son Michael has been acting strange for days, not like himself at all. He is normally a happy child, but he is visibly agitated during his birthday and seems to channel all of his anger into a single act of defiance when it comes time to blow out the candles.
Day to you. Michael, make a wish. Cheer up, big guy, cheer up.
His father can't believe what he just witnessed and orders his son to do it again. Sure enough, Michael somehow is controlling the flames with his mind. The obvious answer is somebody is blowing out the candles off camera, but I don't hear anything. Watch the father's explanation and tell me if you think his emotions are real or simply good acting skills.
It's been a week now since Michael went into the hospital. And doctors don't know what's wrong with him.
The roads in Guwahati, India are apparently haunted. Just ask Abhinash Kishore, aka the Mind Hunter. He pulls up behind a vehicle with an extreme background story that I'll get into in just a second. First, try to translate what he says about this truck, and then I'll tell you what I was able to research.
Guys, ঘূৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে ভূত বিচাৰি থাকোতে থাকোতে এইখন সন্মুখত কি গাড়ী দেখা পাইছেনে? ৰব ভালকে দেখুৱাই দি আছো। গাড়ীখন অলপ আগুৱাই দিয়া।
Okay, so get this. I did some deep digging and found out that this truck is actually the only hearse service offered in the area. Before this company came to be, people used to carry the departed to the nearest graveyard. As an extra bonus, on this blog post, I found information on 3 extremely creepy but also saddening comments requesting the service as soon as possible. That means within this metal container could be someone passed away. So when he finds not 1, but 2 of these vehicles lined up in the middle of nowhere, he knows that something really bad must have happened, and he better not stick around for long. Unfortunately for him, the time to leave safely has already passed.
Stop.
The Mindhunter's assistant gets scared and drives off, but the Mindhunter will have none of it and makes him return. There is another brief sighting until the figure fades away into darkness. This alleged ghost sighting caught on video could simply be a third member of the group, but since it happens not far from where they found the abandoned vehicles that could have had passed away people inside, it could be real. Enrique Ortiz published this video in February of 2015, writing, "I filmed this a few years ago when I was walking across Central Park. One evening, just west of the Bethesda Fountain, on the 72nd Street Crossway, I heard really loud screeching coming from the sewer, and I decided to film it with my phone. In the background, you can hear joggers running past Ortiz, and although he doesn't know what the sound could be, he notes that it was quite vicious and loud." The high-pitched screeching coming from the grate sounds a bit like a pig squealing. It certainly doesn't sound like alligators, as suggested in the video title. The screeching is prolonged and agonizing, leading many in the comments section to agree that it's definitely a sewer fight of some kind. Some thought it might be a fox, raccoon, or possum. My guess would be a rat duel. What do you think? Would you ever purchase a house knowing that somebody passed away in it? Post it to TikTok by Don't Be an Ash Hole. This person wasn't bothered, that is until she ripped up the carpet. On the floorboards, a body outline is found with the case number and dates written beneath one arm.
I wasn't bothered knowing someone died in my new house. But imagine my surprise when I ripped up the floor.
There's also a stain on one side of the outline. So did the person just pass away, or was his life taken? Some are debating in the comments whether this is real or not, saying that the floorboards would be replaced as a biohazard and that they don't draw these outlines anymore, as doing so can contaminate evidence. So is this just a trick by previous homeowners, as some TikTokers are suggesting? Talk about leaving a mark on a place. This paranormal crew's third visit to this prison did not disappoint. CVS Paranormal enters Dorchester Prison, a criminal facility in which executions have been carried out. In previous investigations of this prison, the team has captured some truly eerie figures on camera, like this one. As the team enters, whispering is heard on the audio.
This is a big main entrance where down there is, big main entrance where down there is,
A second EVP captures a low growl.
Prisoner was in here. Prisoner was in here.
This is shortly followed by a door closing or opening.
Sounded like a growl or something. Like a growl or something.
And scratching noises.
This is a big one. Yeah, definite noises.
The singing is what's really chilling.
I swear I just heard singing. It sounded like it's coming from here as well. Soldier. Oh!
But it's when you're not searching for ghosts that they come find you.
Trust me.
It seems Dorchester Prison is truly rife with activity, but whether it's good or evil is anyone's guess. When demons get aggressive, then it's time to be really afraid. Published by Realidad Alterna in November of 2021, this scary video shows a terrifying, malignant incident caught on camera, captured in a scary haunted house. Tim sets up his camera and immediately hears a strange noise behind him. As he's reading something out loud, a window pane starts opening and shutting like mad. The lights start flashing in both rooms, and later, with the night vision on, a chair comes flying out of another room. It doesn't look like it's thrown, rather like it rises, but the scariest part is yet to come. As Tim reads a ritual out loud, a chair comes flying behind him, knocking him over, and seated into the chair. Later, he hears strange knocking from the basement. And when he goes to investigate, creepy groans sound distantly, but they seem like they're all around him. There is something truly to fear in this demon house. Are you ready to face it? Ghost hunters Bro Sham and iStudio team up for one of the scariest paranormal explorations in Indonesia. This time they're exploring a haunted hospital that gives them chills, literally.
So di depan saya memang hutan belukar.
He senses a drop in temperature. The camera goes out of focus. A shadow stretches out to him and then goes away. When he looks over, it's nowhere to be found. They spend a long time exploring the courtyard for more paranormal activity, but get no further signs. Inside, the hospital is being taken back by the rainforest one room at a time, but plenty of the place remains haunted.
Assalamualaikum.
The voice is coming from a room that has a drawing of a witch-like head on the wall. There's no other drawings anywhere else in the hospital, just here. Whatever drew this knew what was in here. As they leave this haunted place, they find this figure upright in the forest, face and body wrapped up in a single cloth, not making a single sound. I don't know if it's a ghost or one of them pretending to be a spirit, but it's creepy and they get out of there without getting any closer. Zach from the Adventures of Zach and Bee is sure that a wild animal is in his attic. It's dark up there, so he takes the camera with him for light. The noise coming from his attic is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It sounds like a baleful combination of scratching, growling, and howling. Zach doesn't bother going any deeper, and I really can't blame him. Unfortunately for him, it sounds like something follows him on the way out.
Well, I don't see anything, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
An unseen voice says don't, and I think it also says get out of here too. Obviously, this is a real human voice and not an animal after all, and whoever was making that noise remains a mystery. Security cameras in this home didn't spy any intruders while this family was on vacation, at least not of the mortal kind. Published by Grasshopper 222 in July of 2011, the living room camera captured what looks like a cat toy moving across the floor. The only problem? There's no cat in sight. Moments later, a strange noise resounds in the room, and several objects fall to the floor. The bathroom's camera captured further paranormal activity. 2 toothbrushes fling from the counter, not falling but as if propelled by an unseen force. The faucet turns on full blast sometime later, while something flings into the sink. This is followed by the toilet flushing, and what sounds like the lid slamming shut. In the garage, although it's dark, you can hear noises. The YouTuber says it's a drill, and the doors on his father's car door. You can see the car's interior lights turn on when the doors open. In the kitchen, activity occurs over several days. Watch closely. Days later, this happens. While some in the comments are perplexed by this blatant activity, others are spotting things you may not have seen, like this shadow. Do you too think this house is in need of a priest? Okay, so this isn't a video per se, but it was too eerie to pass up. This was recorded around 10 years ago in a home in Philadelphia. The family kept hearing noises coming from the basement, so they decided to hire a paranormal team who placed a recorder down there and waited. Nothing happened for 3 days, and then at 3:12 a.m. they recorded this. The horrible recording continues to go on and on, seemingly forever. No video evidence was ever produced, but these possibly paranormal screams will continue to live on YouTube for years to come. Published in April 2017 by Steve Cody. This video allegedly shows a ghost haunting a swimming pool. In the description, Steve writes, "I noticed my camera picked up motion around my pool about a week ago. After midnight, I watched the whole video with my wife, and there's a ghost or something floating over the pool. He said it lingered there for several minutes. The video does in fact show a light floating over his dark swimming pool at night. It just hovers in the top right corner of the screen, bouncing back and forth a bit. So what is it? A luminous ghost? A ghost holding something luminous. Whatever it is, don't go in the water. A YouTuber named Connor Does Adventure goes exploring a sewer tunnel that's been abandoned in the middle of the desert. They're kind of nervous but also in the mood to see something crazy. Little do they know what horrors are about to get caught on camera. It's a long walk to get to the old pipe and they keep stopping because they think they hear something.
It's funny. Know why you're scaring us.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Okay, it's not funny.
That sounds like it could be a frog to me, but maybe not based on what they see next.
What? Dude.
Okay. We're on. You gotta go!
An extra creepy creature slowly stands upright in a strange pose that looks vaguely human.
Dude. Stupid, why would you stand? We gotta go!
It chases them for a while on all fours and then marches straight towards them.
Okay, come on. He's coming.
Dude, he's coming.
This is beyond creepy, but it's probably one of their friends in an outfit.
Dude, do you think he can get past these gates right here?
Oh yeah, dude, look, there's an entrance right there. That's how we... Oh shoot, Brandon, go! Oh my gosh!
After all, stopping a second time to turn around and record some more doesn't seem realistic. I think most people would be out of there and never look back. YouTuber Dark Life says this was the worst EHF find he's ever discovered in an abandoned house. Dennis explains that he didn't bring his tent, so he won't be spending the night.
Ладно, пойду я дальше, не буду терять время. Сегодня я без палатки, поэтому ночевать я здесь не буду оставаться.
Later inside, a spirit confirms that she is there.
Здесь кто-нибудь есть из мира мертвых?
The spirit says that she remembers her relatives.
Помнишь что-нибудь из жизни? Ты что-нибудь помнишь из жизни?
As Dennis is standing in the dark, he accidentally steps on a hornet's nest.
Опа. Я попал.
He leaves a camera down there instead, so as not to be stung, but something spins his camera around. I don't know what did that, but it was not a hornet. A YouTuber named Jeff Saxton is playing with his Ouija board all alone one Friday night. He asks if any spirits are around him and immediately gets a positive response. He contemplates quitting but decides he owes it to his viewers to keep going. He's in the middle of asking some routine questions when all of a sudden this happens.
What the... Yo, guys. Ow! Ow!
His pointer slips away and something knocks over his camera. Jeff Saxton steadies the camera and refocuses it on 3 tiny claw marks, now adorning his right arm. It's hard to say if these are fresh marks or just old scratches from a cat or something like that, so give me your best guess as to whether this video is real or fake. A strange white mist in a messy living room in San Francisco has the YouTube community crying paranormal. Whatever this is, it seems like it heads into the light and then abruptly disappears. I've seen a lot of paranormal CCTV videos, and I've never seen anything that looks or moves like this before. It can't be dust because it has 2 separate parts that move as one. So tell me what you think this is, a real ghost or something else completely different. In the woods near Crybaby Bridge, this paranormal crew asks the spirit if he likes their company, and the spirit answers, published by Hauntings of Ohio in February of 2020. The scary paranormal communication was captured on video. The video shows the crew communicating through a spirit box. After posting the video, this is the answer they receive.
Do you like our company? What the?
The guys say this is one of the clearest and most demonic voices they've ever caught on camera. Terrifying though it is, at least the answer was yes.
Do you like our company? What the? Dude!
That was crystal clear, dude.
Yes.
Strange people can appear at any time in any place. A YouTuber named Will posted a series of Snapchat stories dealing with one such person who surprised a trio of friends in October 2015. According to the camera operator, a random woman knocked on the door, walked right in when he answered, and locked herself in the bathroom. The confused group were unsure what to do at first, but eventually called the police. The responding officer spent some time attempting to unlock the door from the outside, all the while receiving no response from the individual. By the time they managed to get in, the woman is passed out on the bathroom floor. Soon the fire department and paramedics arrive to assess the woman. The entire ordeal, while definitely bizarre, ends up being one the group and the first responders won't forget anytime soon. The woman was clearly not in the right state of mind and confused, needing medical attention. Thankfully, her face is not shown in the clips, as it is easy to imagine how embarrassing this would be to see when she recovered. On another note, for the trio in the house, it is lucky this home invader wasn't there to cause any harm to them. They were lucky to not have been visited by more vicious home invaders who are there to take things or possibly people. But I sincerely hope the woman received the care she needed and continues to have anonymity. Is this the work of the legendary magician Hashina, published in September of 2021? This scary video is tantalizing. While I don't have the full context, the short clip shows some men sitting around a room. Some of the men are chanting. What are they trying to do? Exorcise someone of a possession? I'm not sure. But as the group sits there, a creepy shadow figure emerges from behind a door's fogged glass window. It rises and there doesn't seem to be enough room behind the door for something to remain otherwise hidden. What's going on here? Is it some sort of ritual? Don't close your eyes, because when you wake up tonight, this thing will be waiting for you. Abnormal Alabama is all about discussing the weirdest and scariest things imaginable, and this is probably one of their most frightening videos. These creepy dolls are said to be possessed by something paranormal according to their owner, Kevin Kane, the man in the white shirt, and they aren't afraid to show it. When the host is busy talking about his own bizarre experiences with the haunted dolls, the creepy dolls provide the best paranormal evidence right in front of the camera.
They had all kinds of dolls that were haunted, were supposedly haunted. They had death masks. They actually had the cap they would put.
Not only are the creepy dolls caught on tape moving, which is scary enough, but if you look closely, you'll see one doll moves its eyes first. Its eyelids briefly twitch before the doll moves by itself. I also wanted to point out as a counterpoint that the dolls could be falling over because of how they were positioned. At 20 seconds, Kevin leans back and the other guest moves his laptop, so maybe they bumped the table and accidentally made it look like the dolls were haunted and moving on their own. Or maybe not. These Snapchat videos were taken days after YouTuber Miss Brown 070809 and her co-worker decide to summon a spirit at her job for fun. She has felt constantly watched ever since. Maybe it's just a glitch, but the timing and movement of these Snapchat videos is a little too coincidental at times. It really does seem as if a spirit is responding to her without delay, like here for example.
Friend, where are you? I want to see you, please.
Look at how the ghost actually appears at eye level and follows the movement of a colleague.
It's here, dancing with them.
and when she pluralizes the word friend, more of them seem to come out of nowhere.
Friends, I need to say goodbye. Oh my god, you brought so many friends here, what the
I find it odd that multiple faces appear after she says friends. I'm not saying that these absolutely have to be spirits, but the timing is undeniably strange at the very least. A man was fast asleep in bed when a new type of alarm woke him. Posted to TikTok by Mr. List Paranormal, the man is seen lying on his back when suddenly he flips onto his stomach. He thrashes around as though trying to escape something, and then that something takes it to the next level. The man's feet are lifted skyward as he continues to try and free himself. At last he is left alone, and then he turns around, gazing forward at nothing. Then he sits calmly cross-legged, as if in a trance. Many in the comments say this is why you should keep both feet under the blanket, but for others, this video is inspiring. TikToker KM107 writes, "I'm so doing this to people. Sounds like he'd be a pretty mischievous ghost." A Swedish YouTuber named Headgear, aka Daniel Olsen, has a paranormal corner of their home that always seems to be shuffling objects around. All Daniel has to do is set up a camera and wait. So everything from a phone to a baby monitor is making small movements one after the other. Most of the objects are already halfway off camera though, so therefore moving them wouldn't be that hard to fake. If that blue box moved in the back, I would be more convinced. Also, the fact that nothing on the top shelf moves makes me all the more suspicious. But hey, I guess the poltergeist could have just been interested in the bottom row. I wish he got more of the bottom area to show he wasn't moving stuff around himself, but to be fair, I think Daniel was also trying to get the mirror in the shot. Based on this next video I'm about to show you, at 5 seconds something smacks his camera, yet we see nothing in the mirror. Then this strange shadow makes barely discernible movements in the upper corner of the room, hardly visible unless you know where to look, and even then still fairly difficult to see. Two friends hear something large running across the roof of their home, so one grabs a camera and bravely heads into the night. He scans the rooftop with his flashlight and the beam floats across the oversized pink head of a wild creature that has no fur.
Wait a minute. Hey!
He climbs onto the roof to get a better look at the creature, but when he gets up there, it's gone. Little does he know that it is stalking him from an unseen vantage point the entire time.
Where did it go?
The crouching humanoid looks to be half the size of a normal person. It regards him with cold, beady eyes that are low and close together like those of a wild animal. Zoom in and you'll see that this is either CGI or a real creature. The skin is way too tight to be a mask. Many say that this is the Rake, a pale, mythological creature that attacks without warning. Let me know what you think this is, and if this person was moments away from being a goner. This old dormitory has a story to tell. According to the channel 01 Supernatural Studio, who published this video in February of 2022, this dormitory was left behind by a foreign company after an incident happened in this place. What type of incident though? Well, he doesn't go into detail, but considering the company left this place abandoned, it must not be a good one. Using thermotechnology along with an EMF meter, the ghost hunter quickly detects some energy here. As he's exploring the place, he's ascending the stairs when his EMF meter again detects an energy field. His thermotechnology spies what looks like a figure in the corner. Later, while he's standing still, he hears a faint noise coming from somewhere within the house. Who is there with him? Maybe this dorm hasn't been abandoned after all. A YouTuber named ShayXL and her friend, Brandy Lynn, are trying on various outfits and walking around the mall when they apparently attract a follower. This is the first time they notice him, and they sound more annoyed than scared.
Why does this guy keep following us? Like, literally, he keeps following us.
Home in the mirror.
Compare this to the 4th time they see him, and you can tell they really are in fear. No one should have to go through this, and I feel really bad for them.
We just saw him again, so that's the 3rd time that we saw him. Oh my god, he's following us, he's following us.
The way he keeps glancing at them, while trying not to be obvious, makes me wonder how much practice he was doing this before. He obviously cannot control himself and keeps needing to take another look. He refuses to give up his pursuit and continues pretending to look at clothes. I guess it's possible, but somehow I seriously doubt he has more interest in these bright red dresses than he does in them. All of this might have been a coincidence, if not for this part, where he walks directly towards them at the end. In my opinion, he only stops and turns when he realizes they have his face on video.
Look, he's right there. He's literally following us.
Still, even knowing that he is caught on camera, he still passes them once more, and this time turns his head to stare. Is this all a big misunderstanding, or is he getting one final look in the most creepy way possible? Donnie regularly sees what he thinks is a shadow person in his home. It's always in the basement, always coming from the corner of his eye, and always going way too fast to be a normal person. He can feel its anger downstairs, and he knows that it wants to do him harm. Donnie decides to put music on blast to see what kind of reaction he can get on camera. After 20 minutes, this shadow can take no more and races upstairs, causing these lights to move. Soon the same angry feeling returns, and Donnie knows that it's back. He starts recording down a dark hall, and these bottles move on their own.
You're not welcome here.
You and I both heard them fall, but no one else is around to knock them over. At least nobody that I could see. And just around the corner are the stairs leading down to the dark, cold basement. If you ever find yourself in Moonville Tunnel in Ohio, you might want to tunnel your way out of there. This haunted railroad tunnel is home to legendary local ghosts. While visiting, this boy caught one on camera after finding a pentagram drawn into the dirt.
You can sort of see a pentagram there.
He waited in the darkness.
I'm hearing gunshots.
While the noises could be explained by the wind and the wilderness, what do you make of this? Watch the white space at the end of the tunnel closely.
Did you hear that? Something just hit the ground over there.
Do you see that? Here it is again, slower this time. The apparition looks like it's moving. It then disappears into the light. Another shot of the tunnel a moment later shows no figure around. But in my opinion, it could be the shadows of the trees or the brush to the right captured as the camera's lights adjusts. Watch as he zooms in again here.
Here's somebody with their dog.
It is strange though that the capture appears to be standing upright, and if it is just a shift while the camera's lights adjusts, why did it only capture this one distinct shape? Tell me what you think in the comments. This one has left me with more questions than answers. This giant flat creature is actually a beached oarfish laying on its side. A confirmed bystander pushes it back into the water with her paddle, which could be a mistake because it proceeds to head directly for the person holding the camera.
Oh my god.
Although it seems more concerned with getting away than taking a bite, this is still not an animal that I would want to have anywhere near me, especially in such shallow waters. It almost seems to make eye contact as it passes directly under her feet before straightening out and swimming away. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Lá dentro?
Olha, por Deus, tem alguém vindo na janela. Ô, Sandro. Por que? O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade. O que você viu? Sandro, eu vi. O que você viu, louco? Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, já. Sandro.
Calma, André.
Isso aí, André.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho.
Olhando.
Vai ser lascado.
O cara bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo aí na frente. Olha! Olha, Sandro!
Olha onde que voa essa cadeira.
Sai daqui, ó! Moça!
Olha! Nossa Senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. JB records paranormal activity on TikTok when his car door opens by itself and an orb appears. The car door opens even wider and then you see a black orb fly past. It seems like it could be paranormal until you look at the trees blowing and realize the car door probably blew open because it was a windy day. The first orb was probably a lens flare coming off from the car door, and the second black orb looks like the shadow of a bird flying by. So well over 6,000 people are saying this is a scary video. I would agree unless you look a little more closely a second time. You know when you're nonchalantly taking video, panning across the room, and this happens? This short clip posted to YouTube by Baku DD is not meant to be a jump scare, but it'll have you jumping scared anyway. As the woman films her apartment with a blurry camera, she pans around to a hallway that appears to be filled with sunlight, perhaps by a window backlighting the area, and there stands a tall, looming figure that apparently shouldn't be there at all, judging by the woman's frightened reaction. The woman shrieks, and the shot moves sideways as she jumps in fright. When she pans back to the hallway, the figure is gone. This is either a fantastic fake or the real deal. Whether you think it's legit or not, it's probably something you wouldn't want to witness in the flesh. If you've ever been in a school at night, you know how creepy the dark, empty halls can be. Well, this school takes the hair standing on end to another level. Published to YouTube by Tubba Rubba in January of 2016. This scary video shows security footage via a video monitor which was captured at the apparently haunted Folk High School in Arkansas. A janitor's cart sits in the entrance of a bathroom. A moment later, it starts to move slowly forward. It pauses for a minute and then rolls further, wheeling around the corner before launching fast across the hallway and then turning sharply to enter another room. According to Tubba Rubba, the janitor of the school weighed in on this haunted ordeal. He said that his cart is too heavy to have been pulled by a string. Moreover, no one was caught on camera entering or leaving the bathroom before or after the creepy incident. So I guess we can assume the school bathroom is haunted. By folks' version of moaning Myrtle, better steer clear before she drowns you in her tears. Two scientists poke and prod at the body of a short, round-bellied humanoid with sharp features and a wide frown. They seem to follow a number of scientific procedures and pull out internal organs one at a time, weighing them on what I think is an old scale. The full video of this procedure is not for the squeamish. Everything looks very clinical, so I think this video has a good chance of being real. This short clip was taken at an unidentified prison that is most likely abandoned. This is an actual creature coming out of the darkness, or are the shadows just playing tricks on you? I will say that there are signs of editing. The dust is swirling a lot faster than normal, which makes me believe that this footage was sped up. It could have been a normal person dressed in all black, quietly walking up and then backing away, which would look very paranormal when sped up like that. Maybe the video was sped up for some other reason and is in fact real. I was looking for more information about this security cam video because it's really creepy. It is said to be taken from a lab experiment in Russia. The test subject lies in bed and begins to shake like something has gone seriously wrong. Nobody comes to help them and the camera continues to silently record. After a while, the test subject begins to levitate in the air, and the video ends shortly afterwards. This almost has to be special effects, and some people say that they could have seen this from a movie while others swear it was real. It looks pretty real to me, but if you've seen this from any Hollywood production, then let us know. The origins of this video are mysterious, and the footage even more so. Published to YouTuber Chibonk182, the short clip is entitled Kuyang Dayak. The video shows what appears to be a beast human behind a cage. The creature seems to have an animalistic body, although no animal on Earth has ever looked like this. While its ghost white face is that of a human male's, with long shaggy brown hair. The face looks perturbed by chit-chatting of the onlookers, to say the least, but it just continues to lie there on the blue flowered sheet, its limbs moving slightly. Also known as the Krasu in Cambodian mythology, and Krasu in Laos, the Kuyang spirit is ubiquitous across the folklore of Southeast Asia. The figure appears with the head of a woman, with its internal organs trailing below her. Is that what it is meant to be? If not, then what in the world is it? A thing of myth and legend or not? This clip does one thing right, it makes you shudder in horror. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. This stranger in a hockey jersey demands entry. Would you let him in?
Let me in.
Published by Sam Maloney in May of 2022, this Ring doorbell camera captured this man's attempted entry on video. After being dropped off by a white car that drives away, the man walks up the stairs and rings the doorbell a couple of times. He speaks in a strange, froggy voice. He continues to growl at the door.
Let me in. Let me in.
Alexa then asks him what his intentions are, and he responds,
Welcome. This is Alexa. What is the purpose of the visit?
I require entry.
After demanding entry, the man disappears from the camera's sight, but it's not clear where he went. He didn't retreat down the front stairs. Did he find a way in through the door or a window? You and me are left with more questions than answers. A YouTuber named Combo Hugs notices a burly man acting very out of place in his apartment complex. For starters, he is peeking from around a corner and behind a bush with his phone.
Look at him. He's been sitting there taking pictures with his phone and watching people at the pool since like 10 minutes ago when I was walking my dog.
According to Combo Hugs, the man would act like he was busy on his phone whenever someone walked by, only to resume his photographic activities once they'd passed a safe distance. I will say that I did notice some small children in this video, which is why I'm glad Combo Hugs called the police and alerted the apartment manager shortly after recording this as evidence. A YouTube channel called Mux9 TV goes exploring some extra scary woods in Pakistan late at night when they find some really creepy stuff that leaves them really freaked out. Out of the woods staggers a mysterious figure who refuses to speak for a long time. His eyes look haunting, like he's seen too much in too short a time and has been wandering for days, unable to get it out of his mind. The group does not know how else to help this person, and so they recite some words of faith over him, which works to the extent of scaring him away back to wherever he came from. This doesn't look like a ghost sighting so much as the aftermath of a person who has had a paranormal experience of their own in the forest and has succumbed to madness in the days since. Either way, they're definitely not the type of person you'd want to encounter in the woods, so I bet the group is relieved when he runs away, but at the same time, he could probably use some help. Hopefully he finds peace, but with that scary stare, I don't see how such a thing is going to be possible. A YouTuber named Shahara Negron and her family have been experiencing some strange activity ever since they moved into a new place. Lately, her daughter has been complaining that her toys have been moving all by themselves, and one doll in particular seems to be at the center of it all.
This doll actually looks like, and it's kind of old, wow, nothing really precious or special about it, but it just has this feeling about it.
She sits and watches the doll as orbs dance all around. It isn't long before something starts to happen.
This is some freaky. Oh, I'm about to run. What the? Whoa, what the fuck?
I was thinking that somebody hidden behind the chair was moving it, but then the recliner footrest comes out by itself at the end. As far as I know, somebody would have had to grab a lever on the side or pressed a button, but I don't see anyone. Tell me if you think this family is legitimately being haunted. YouTuber Ali H lives in a haunted house. After his dogs woke him in the middle of the night, he was confronted, but not by his dogs, by the demon itself. Watch the security camera footage here. Ali says there was a knocking noise which disturbed his dogs. That's why they woke him up for comfort. He got up to check things out, and when he did, something sinister happened. After having his neck squeezed and then thrown to the floor, Ali somehow went back to bed. Although this would definitely not be my reaction to being choked by an unseen force, I do believe Ali's story. Watch again at how he was lifted off the floor by the demon. Maybe Ali is just so used to dealing with the haunted happenings in his home, he's become indifferent to them. I think this is getting dangerous for him though. He should take everyone's advice in the comments and move from this haunted place before it's too late. These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m., were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them.
Oh my, I still gotta see it. Dude, there's this weird thing flying around. Where is it? Right there. Oh my. What is that?
Julia Marie Madness is being driven close to madness by a strange light that she is having trouble explaining. A light that's as interested in her as she is in it. Watch this and tell me if you think it's a camera glitch or something else.
Oh my god, what is that? It's scaring me a little bit. It's like right here.
She's worried about the orb trying to hitch a ride in her car, but some say she should be more worried about it attaching itself to her in a possible possession attempt.
It's like right next to me. It's like right next to me. Dude. Dude, don't come in my car.
Whatever this is, a car's passing headlights does nothing to change the size or appearance of the apparent ghost orb, so it doesn't seem to be a trick of the light. I'm not saying this can't be a glitch, I'm just saying it's very weird, and so as almost everyone else who's seen the full video, it first appears in a flash of pink light, almost like it teleports in from nowhere, or the pink light is just her thumb. It goes away after a while and she can't recreate the circumstances to make it appear again. This YouTuber is trapped. The hungry beast shreds his backpack and smells more supplies up this tree. All it needs to do is get through this pesky human first.
Hey there. Down there.
Amazingly, the bear does as told and goes back down upon the hunter's request. I guess seeing a human talk up close like that must have freaked it out because the animal runs away before chancing a look back at the backpack laying on the ground and deciding against it. Of all the weird things I've ever seen caught on camera in the woods, this has to be one of the weirdest and scariest videos ever, because there's no doubt it's absolutely real. When you think you're home alone, and then this happens. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Esco Season 95, the Redditor writes, I was messing around with my dog, just us two were home, and my door did this. The video shows the Redditor playing with her dog's mouth, baring his teeth, when suddenly behind him, the door, which is opened into the bedroom, slowly swings closed before slamming shut. She specifies that her door never closes like this, and there were no doors or windows open to create a draft. While some think there are too many ways to fake videos with closing doors, others don't believe it's faked, but cite air pressure or other circumstances that might have caused this. Dark Lord of Pretzels writes, whether or not it's paranormal doesn't matter, because if I was home alone and that exact scenario happened to me, I'd nope out of there so fast. I feel like most of us would agree with that statement. Published to YouTube by In Jamaica in August of 2017, this big almost catch occurred at the Hellshire Bridge. The camera approaches a large gathering of onlookers surrounding the bridge in question, where cars have pulled to the side of the road to watch the big event. Two young men have managed to nab the croc by the snout using a length of rope. The crowd cheers as the crocodile thrashes about and soon escapes his captors. They try again, throwing the rope into the murky water. After a few failed attempts to recapture it, they give up and the crowd disperses. Many in the comments below blame the lack of catch on the crowd, saying they're making too much noise and scaring the croc away. Perhaps they're right, but if you knew this monster was lurking below, could you suppress your fear? This recent video of an unidentified flying device was sighted in New Mexico. It looks like a disc-shaped object until one of the lights breaks away.
What the?
Then they all briefly flicker out before lighting back up in a new formation. Is this some kind of special military flare exercise or what? I think I'm gonna go with what, and by what, I mean extraterrestrial life. If you hold a ceremony in the house of a known witch, you can expect exactly what's about to happen in this video. Published in February of 2022 by the channel Paranormal Point, evil came out of a mirror when this paranormal investigator prompted it to. He sees a shadow move in the mirror. Is someone in the room with him? Upon his arrival, he found these realistic candles already set up. He believes the witch was performing her ceremonies in front of this mirror. After he lights the candles, the nearby stool starts to take on a life of its own. But the real question is, what is living in this mirror? Is it a demon? As the spirit box communicates,
Кто тебя забрал?
Демон.
when the man stands in front of the mirror, he feels someone behind him. I'd wager it's the shadow figure we saw earlier in the corner. A YouTuber named Dark Exploration Films is checking out an old abandoned police station in New York City to see what he can find. He makes his way through some old dark service tunnels and finally comes out on the other side. The police station starts off as a series of twisting hallways filled with old electronics, paper documents, and various forms of evidence. As Dark Exploration Films goes deeper, he finds a lonely medical wing filled with abandoned beds. The walls look particularly clean until he comes into a final room that looks absolutely wrecked.
Guys, I have no idea what we just walked into, but it's clear it's a medical room.
On the floor, he finds a red stain that he thinks is absolutely real, and based on the realistic splatter pattern, I tend to agree. He steps over it and finds one last scary item, a bright orange biohazard container with the lid open. The container is pretty much empty, but it doesn't exactly look clean. Hopefully the mysterious white powdery substance inside is just chipped paint flakes and not something that is dangerous to inhale. I wish him the best, but I hope there's more info on what was in that container. A YouTuber named Guy Terry hears someone crying outside of his door and starts recording for both evidence and his safety. He quickly shuts the door and then appears to be torn between helping the stranger and running away. He decides to open the door once again, a bad mistake. Something about the timing of the video and the aggressive posture of the woman seems absolutely real to me. First uploaded in 2007, this video is one of the earliest ghost sightings to go viral. I'm not sure if this was truly paranormal or if someone broke in, but I do think it's not staged. Nothing like heading out to the old barn in the middle of the night. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by the Comics Man, and originally posted to YouTube in April of 2020 by the channel Me and Some Dudes. Comics Man writes, "Thought I saw something at 1 minute 19 seconds. Don't know. Let's take a look and find out." The guy filming sets out to show us his barn at night. He notes that there's a shed full of roosters to the side, and sometimes they go berserk. He says when they do, and he goes to check on them, the door is always open. His theory is that there are bunnies or raccoons living beneath the barn, but how would they open the door? Eugene Krabs in the YouTube comments points out at around 1 minute 18 seconds that something appears to duck down behind the gray thing in the barn. Do you see it? We can only hope it's a raccoon and not something creepier. A YouTuber named IN7 and a large group of friends decide to investigate an abandoned home for some possible paranormal activity. They didn't find anything that strange on the first floor, aside from some mattresses, so they decide to go up a flight of rickety steps that looks far from safe. Some laughter stops them in their tracks. They start to run, but then find confidence in numbers and decide to keep going anyway. When they get to the top floor, they find more mattresses. One of the mattresses has a human-looking figure on it with black sheets pulled above the head. Suddenly, some other kids rejoin the group to warn them of more people. They hear laughter again and bolt down the steps, out of the house. The laughter sounds distant, yet somehow all around them. If it's not editing, then it's definitely paranormal. The group will never know if the person laying on the mattress was just sleeping or not alive. They could have stumbled upon some ritual sacrifice for all we know. Don't accept help from just anyone. They might not be what you think. YouTuber Scaryfield shares this creepy video which is trending in the Hindi-speaking YouTube community. The video is actually from YouTube channel True Horror Stories POV, and this horror story occurred on a dark road at night. In the beginning, the woman starts having car trouble in a cursed place.
Matilah pula.
After pulling to the side of the road, a random stranger stops to help her.
Oh, cik. Kereta saya daripada tadi tak tahu asal tak boleh start. Dia termati-mati daripada saya jalan tadi. Tak tahu apa pasal.
Boleh cik tolong?
The guy checks out a few things, but each time the woman attempts to start her car, it's still having trouble.
Tak ada. Tak boleh. Tak tahulah asal.
The man then tells her that it's not a mechanical problem.
Tapi tadi kereta saya betul-betul mati. Bukan?
Benda ikut ni.
Benda ikut? Benda apa cik?
Cuba tengok dalam kereta sekarang.
Dalam kereta?
But rather that something attached itself to her on the cursed route she took, and maybe he was right.
Cik!
While this is just a reenactment, these incidents are said to be based on true events. Well, if this happened to me in real life, I can't imagine I'd live to tell the tale. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still, the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. This video was recorded more than 5 years ago. It shows the pointer moving around the Ouija board on its own at first, but then it somehow levitates and begins flying away. There's a good chance that this is CGI, at least that's the only explanation that I can think of besides actual spirits. When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman, dressed in white, walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there." They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide. A haunted home in Italy that has been the subject of many failed exorcisms has some incredible paranormal activity caught on tape that almost has to be trick photography. Tell me how this was done before I wake up screaming tonight. It almost looks too well done to be computer editing. A camera pans across a white room filled with antique furniture and creepy collectibles, which is already bad enough, but when it stops at a tall old mirror, they seem surprised to find a childlike silhouette filling out the frame. As they are studying the child in their shaky gaze, a pair of identical orbs float above her head as two pinpoints of light become barely visible, almost like she is turning her head slightly. I guess this shadow child could simply be a large doll. However, even if this was the case, as far as I'm aware, only the eyes of the living can reflect light like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lifeless doll should never have glowing eyes. The person recording sees the eyes and tears up the steps in a hurry. They would later refer to the event only as the girl with sparkling eyes in the dark. Sometimes ghosts are just forewarning you about what's around the corner. YouTuber Paranormal Voyages shares this freaky short in which he's speaking to a spirit through a spirit box.
I just seen a shadow.
Was that you?
Whoa!
The spirit literally tells him, "The bat's in," and a moment later,
whoa!
Well, the bat's in. It feels pretty hard to be a skeptic after that series of events. A motorcyclist named Motor 2 Wrist is biking through India when he misses his turn and gets lost. Now it's threatening to rain and his bike's narrow high beams are his only source of light. Motor 2 Wrist is already close to losing his composure when he sees something that pushes him completely over the edge. Some stranger rushes at him from the side of the road. Keep in mind that it's 10 at night and there's apparently no villages around for miles. The pedestrian would have to be out of their mind to travel down a dark road in bad weather without so much as a flashlight to guide their way. Moto 2 Wrist is positive that he's seen a ghost and quickly speeds off, though it might have been someone in distress. We'll never know what the situation was for sure, but I'd like to get your opinion nonetheless. April and Kevin of a YouTube channel called AK Explorations team up with some of their ghost hunting friends to take on the Florida Grand Opera House, a historic location established in 1884 that is rumored to have acquired quite a few spirits over the past 135 years. April stands behind the scenes and gazes upon a row after row of empty seats. She's busy taking in the sights when she captures this paranormal moment on camera. At 4 minutes and 48 seconds, a shadow figure walks between the red curtains on the other side of the opera. I was thinking that this could have just been the shadow of one of the other people she was with, except for 3 things. First, there's also a passing shadow on her side of the room at 4 minutes and 46 seconds. It happens next to her, in exactly 2 seconds before it happens again on the other side of the room. Second, there's a really weird noise before the shadow person appears. She kinda makes a sigh, but there's also like a shrieking noise or something at the same time. Third of all, these orbs appear when she tries to tell Kevin about the experience.
Who's back there? I waited. I saw someone walk back there.
Next, they go to the balcony seats, and a strange feeling overtakes April at 7 minutes and 27 seconds.
Weird up here, guys. Let's sit here for a minute. Actually, here for a minute.
This strange white anomaly appears 2 seconds after she says she doesn't feel normal up here. It does look like a floating hair, but it also kind of looks like a phantom outline walking down the steps. The feeling grows so strong that she needs to step away and regather her thoughts. She turns around and is sure she's being watched again, and I'm almost sure I see the curtains move right where she believes it to be.
Guys, it feels really weird. Right here. Chelsea's doing her office down there.
When AK Explorations aren't exploring fancy operas, they are usually busy investigating much less sophisticated haunts, like this chicken farm in the middle of nowhere. Eyes are on them from afar before they've even stepped foot inside, hopefully those of a wild animal rather than a restless spirit, though probably the latter based on what they soon encounter.
Middle of the night, by ourselves.
April immediately feels watched as they enter the abandoned home. She turns around and her light barely manages to catch more eyes, along with whatever this is.
Sorry, I heard something behind me.
It's a different color than the surrounding green plants, and it looks much closer than anything else, possibly even on the porch with her. She doesn't notice and moves on. Inside, all of the windows are blacked out so that no light gets through. Though I don't know why anyone would choose to do this, and I was hoping you might have a reason for it. In the corner of the living room is a knotted rope surrounded by flies. I don't know what happened here, but I'm glad they didn't check to see what's inside the black garbage bag right next to the rope. Next, April and Kevin sweep over the house with a black light to see if there are any signs of a struggle. Sure enough, at 10 minutes and 33 seconds, they find a red stain on the bed that is not visible without their equipment. A second similar red stain is found on the mattress at 10 minutes and 42 seconds, so something happened here. A noise interrupts April right as she suspects someone could still be in here.
Do you hear that?
I'll admit that I didn't hear anything at first, but soon a strange hum fills the air. This house has no power, so nothing should be humming at all. You really hear it at 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Babe, come here. Oh, come here, let's go here.
The noise guides them to one room in particular. Something in their mind tells them not to go any further. A sixth sense warning that danger is near. April reasons that the floor might not be able to support their weight, but I'm pretty sure they felt the presence of whatever this is.
Is this just, you think it's safe to walk on?
It's a noise they do not hear until they watch the video much later. Looking back, all they knew was that it was time to leave. This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. Is this yet another creepy creature of the forest? Something pale and wide-eyed is playing peekaboo from behind this log. What is this thing? Some in the comments think it's a person wearing a mask, others think it's an opossum, but many think it's an owl, and I have to agree, unless it is, as Deflaco Napier suggests, a ghost bird. I think I just changed my vote. According to NASA, the Apollo 20 spaceship never left the ground due to a lack of funding. This leaked video, however, says otherwise. Apparently, the mission was covered up after this strange structure was found on the surface of the moon. The leaked video is now referenced to as a moon base. Look closely and you'll see what appears to be an entrance ramp leading directly into the structure itself. It almost looks like some kind of vehicle is halfway up. Let me know if you see the supposed entrance, and if you think that there is any possibility that this leaked video could be real. I think it is kind of a stretch, but I do see what they are talking about. A customer reaches for a drink when he begins to shake and sputter out of control. It looks like it could be a seizure, but he does not fall down right away, so some people say it's a possession. At the 48-second mark, he points to something only he can see and begins shrieking in horror. This is when he goes down a second time and does not come back up. One minute and 5 seconds into the video, you can see a ghostly figure in the reflection to his left that could be the spirit of his aggressor. Paper towels fly to the ground on their own shortly after in a further indication of paranormal possession. A YouTuber named Stuart Drake says that he found this old VHS tape which only had 1999 written on the side and nothing more. Someone is exploring an old schoolhouse all alone, presumably at the turn of the century. The video looks pretty ordinary except for a few glitches like this one. Stuart Drake is checking out a small dead-end room when the deep rumbling sounds of electrical disturbance return. He turns around and comes face to face with something I'm not sure I even believe can be true. A lot of people swear that Slenderman is just a myth, but this video seems to say otherwise. If this tape is real and correctly dated, then this would mean Slenderman has been active for over 20 years. A person is recording at an old memorial site that is apparently haunted when something gets his attention. When they turn back around to record some more, they chance upon a girl dressed in modern clothes with long black hair covering her face and chest. Then she's gone. Something about this video seems natural and unplanned. I will admit that there is somewhat of a delayed reaction during the double take, but maybe whoever was recording could only see it on their screen and not in front of them. Or maybe this video is fake because the girl could have simply ducked out of sight. If the person recording had gone into the building and saw nothing, then I would be satisfied that this video is real. A paranormal channel called Love to Investigate has one of the creepiest ghost videos ever, a sighting that looks real and must have been terrifying for them to have caught on camera.
I don't like looking behind shower curtains, that just creeps me right out. The bathroom again. That's pretty cool, that is.
They are exploring a haunted mental asylum when the spirit of a former patient glares at them from the hallway. When they look up, it's leaving as she makes a comment about the smell.
That's pretty cool, that is. Smells like an hospital in this part, definitely.
The apparition has long black braids and wears a long dress that women had to wear at the mental asylum long ago. The paranormal investigator later comments that they had no idea they were being watched by the supernatural at the time. Had they known, they would have ran away in the opposite direction. A possible ghost sighting in the Indian town of Kudail has left construction worker witnesses wondering what it was they saw walking around late at night.
पुढे जाऊ नका रे गाडी पाठी घे गाडी पाठी घे गाडी पाठी घे
You can hear them talking about the figure when suddenly it lets out a loud scream that all of them hear over the construction equipment. This video is real, warns the uploader, who says that this was taken by his sister's friend at 2:30 in the morning. I'm not sure if I believe him or not, but if I lived in the area, I definitely wouldn't take the chance of walking around early in the morning and finding out. So there's a YouTube channel called EB30X Fitness, 34 videos, 1-year-old account, not exactly the first place you'd go looking for paranormal content, but there's one creepy workout video they can't explain.
5, 6, 7. Did anybody see that orb fly behind Karen?
Aura.
Anybody see that orb?
A wavy light goes over his client, and he puts everything on hold to point it out. Honestly, it looks like a bug to me. He says it's a ghost caught on film though. I don't think they're doing this for publicity. It has less than 1,000 views, and their fitness studio Facebook page in Illinois already has 300,000 followers, so I think he's being sincere when he says it's a ghost orb. What do you think about this paranormal activity? It's pretty creepy, but like I said, maybe a bug. You couldn't pay me money to stay in this house. Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari, the TikToker explains that strange things have been happening in her barn-style home. As she's speaking, she hears something, even though she's home alone. She follows the noise. You can hear repeated loud banging coming from the living room. Her cat looks uneasy. When she enters to find no one there, she asks the spirits to stop and leave.
Can you stop?
She then turns to capture her reflection in the television, and it looks like a dark shadow is creeping up behind her. Turning around, there's nothing there. In a later clip, she is showing her viewers the pond outside when a dark shadow passes behind her in the reflection of the window. She walks around the house turning all the lights on, and something starts banging again. She takes this as her cue to leave.
Oh my it's okay. It's okay. Holy.
In the comments, TikToker Danny writes, "My electricity bill would be so high because I would never turn a single light off in that house ever." Some say this made their skin crawl. Others suggest sage. Still others say this is beyond sage. I say you should avoid finishing this video unless you're truly brave. This dog knows what's up. Published by Ghost Hunting Unique 0.4 in April of 2022. This dog is seen staring down the road. He then runs away without explanation. That's when this figure appears suddenly in the middle of the road. The figure later vanishes. But then this weirdo pops up, scaring a passerby. It's unclear what he wants, but he too vanishes after a moment. Later, another figure disappears as he's crossing the street. Is this just a road of no return? The Bermuda Triangle of pavement? Or is something else going on here? Paris might be considered to be the fashion capital of the world, but it also has a much darker claim to fame. A series of underground tunnels extending for miles where over 6 million people have been buried. As if that isn't enough, one day a videotape was recovered from the depths of the catacombs. that still has never been explained. The VHS footage was taken by a single brave person as they explored the twisting paths of the catacombs, miles and miles below the city. The lone traveler journeys as far down as he can stand, which was further than most would consider to have been safe. He often stops to curiously handle and examine ancient bones along the way. He's poking around one forgotten pathway that's about 6 miles under the city when he suddenly stops and grows very tense. His breathing becomes heavy as he begins to frantically search for a way out. The beginning of the video shows him acting calm and collected, but now he is sprinting through the catacombs in a panic, only slowing down to briefly decide on which path to take next. The more you watch, the more it feels like he is being chased by something off camera. Finally, he pauses for just 1 second, and then this happens. No one knows what could have caused him to drop his camera and run like that, but it couldn't have been anything good. His identity has never been revealed, and his body has never been found. With this in mind, it is quite possible that on one night he became the newest addition to the catacombs. Do you choreograph TikTok dances? If so, you'd better skip this one. Published to YouTube by Unknown Barbados in April of 2020. This video will have you checking over your shoulder the next time you gear up to press record. The video shows a woman dancing outside a brick building with a darkened hallway behind her. As she dances like nobody's watching, unbeknownst to her, someone is. Look over her shoulder as she does her moves. This woman is not alone. Someone with long dark hair and a pale face that's unusually blurred peers from behind her for a split second before vanishing back into the shadows. A nightmare specter spectator if I ever saw one. What would you do if you saw this in one of your TikTok posts? Probably would be the end of your TikToking career. A YouTuber named Justin Gansberg is sawing trees with his crew when he notices one starts to wobble his way. As for reference, this small shadow marks where Justin was standing at the time. This gives Justin roughly 5 seconds to approximate where the tree is going to land and move accordingly. With no time to spare, Justin drops his camera and picks a spot just a few feet away. It's more or less a total guess. It turns out to be the luckiest guess of his life. As you can see, the tree lands directly on top of his camera, with Justin barely running away in time. If he had froze under the pressure, which I think a lot of people would have, then he would have been directly in the path of a 100-foot falling tree. While this isn't an extraterrestrial, it very much looks like something straight out of a sci-fi film published by the Mastercaster in December of 2020. This group just caught a lamprey, an ancient jawless fish with a mouth made of rows of vampire-like teeth.
We just caught a lamprey in the Jordan Creek right now. Look at that dude.
The parasitic fish is native to the northern and western Atlantic Ocean, and its funnel-like mouth sucks on all types of fish prey, including catfish, trout, sturgeon, walleye, and more. This monster was captured in the group's local creek, but lampreys have also been found in the Great Lake region. Many in the comments are familiar with the lamprey, with commenter John Sparks warning, "Be careful, it will latch onto you." Apparently this thing preys on humans too. A TikToker named Sydney Carpenter is convinced that her Snapchat filter is detecting not one but 2 nearby faces. I don't think anything on this table or wall looks like a face, so I don't think it's a glitch. She tells it to stick its tongue out if it can hear her, and it does after a moment's hesitation. I don't think it's a coincidence, but watch this part for yourself and tell me.
Stick your tongues out if you can see me.
Do a bit.
Yo, there's 2 of them.
Later on, it appears in a totally different place than last time. Like before, the Dalmatian appears to give the answer that yes, it is in fact up to no good.
Are you good? Are you bad?
She starts speaking to the remaining dog, and upon being asked if it was good, it disappears instantly.
Are you good?
disappeared.
which I guess stands for no. There's just way too many strange interactions like this one that makes sense for me to ignore. It's 2 at night when this doorbell cam captures something that really shouldn't be possible. Pay attention to the area by the white railing to see it. Some kind of smoky blur appears out of nowhere and paces back and forth twice before disappearing. The uploader insists that this is a ghost, and I agree that it is a strong possibility. Look again and it almost looks like a large head accompanied by 2 hanging arms, or at least that's what I see. Let me know if you can see it as well. A Redditor named Bunny Toes posted a really bizarre video on the Chills Narrator subreddit that's worth further analysis. She says she was deleting random videos taken by her young grandkids when she came across this strange moment in her old house, which she has since moved directly because of what you're about to see. Her grandchild innocently passes over a shadow figure standing at the foot of her bed. Bunny Toast says this happened a day before her mother-in-law's birthday, who used to live with them for 6 years and recently passed. She has no doubt that this is her mother-in-law visiting her from the other side. This could be a real ghost sighting, but you do see Bunny Toes at the beginning of this video, so it might have been her walking away. I guess I'm willing to believe her, because most people would recognize themselves on camera, and the uploader is adamant that the shadow figure in the video is simply not her. Midlothian, Scotland is no stranger to witches. Salem was bizarre enough, but the Great Scottish Witch Hunt was on a whole other level. This drone video sure seems to suggest that witches continue to walk among us, or at least they walk in quiet fields within our vicinity. That's what this alleged witch was doing when captured on video by a drone. The woman dressed in a red skirt, black top, and with long, lanky, black, maybe gray hair, is first seen standing quite still in the field. The video then shows her turning around, swaying slightly, her face quite pale. She seems to be dancing or performing some ritual as she raises her hands in the air and then places a foot forward. Is this a real-life witch? If not, what in the world is she doing? At the Devil's Gate Dam, Kelsey Davies and her crew communicated with the ghost of a twisted individual who took many lives. As soon as they set up their devices, they start to get a reading.
On here. I just touched your boob, I'm sorry. I love how we both moved back. Like, it turned naughty. I know.
Then, shortly after, they come into contact with Val.
Are you here with us? Can you cross the dowsing rods if you're here?
They ask if she's near.
The REM pod go off.
Later, they come across a lot of strange debris.
Is that a wallet? What is all this? Someone's backpack? Their comb? Oh no, this is a lunchbox.
Does this stuff belong to those who lost their lives at the hands of Val? They return late at night and confirm Val's presence.
Val, is that you?
And they are given a warning.
Oh my god. Oh my, right, it said leave. You said welcome to that flashed and it said leave, Joey. I have the chills.
I may be old school, but if the ghost of a life taker tells you to leave, I really think you should listen. Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. The next time you're getting inked up, you'd best beware the angry poltergeists that may haunt the place. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Little Bo, the uploader explains that the ghost in their studio is becoming increasingly aggressive, particularly targeting men. The video shows the ghost in action as the artist is preparing to give a customer some ink. Several things literally launch from the nearby shelf, falling down on the artist, who covers his head. In the comments, the OP says the items that were thrown were a bottle and a Bluetooth speaker. It seems this is not a unique thing for studios. A Redditor mentions their 100-year-old studio's poltergeist is quite active as well. He writes, if you're in the basement, you can hear people walking above you, even if there's no one there, and just a general sense of dread. Once I was there alone after hours drawing, and the phone rang 3 times, and then read line in use as if someone picked up the phone. I refused to be there alone. The OP responds that the doorbell of their studio also goes off a lot without anyone entering, as they call such events their phantom no-show clients. Is this angry ghost one of their phantom no-shows? We can only guess. The Ninjin is supposed to be a large aquatic humanoid that was originally discovered by Japanese whale researchers in the Arctic. This video, allegedly taken from the Japanese Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology, appears to strongly corroborate the legend. The slow-moving camera creeps past what appears to be a rounded humanoid creature with 2 large white eyes. Look closely and you can see a playful smile across the sea creature's face in what some have called a knowing look. Everything from a whale to a rock has been proposed, though nothing has been verified. Let me know if you think this video is evidence of a human-like creature lurking somewhere in the icy waters below. A paranormal YouTube channel called Northwest Ghost Adventures claims his haunted attic has the most ghost activity out of anywhere in the UK. Here are 2 of the best examples of paranormal evidence. On February of 2018, the Northwest Ghost Adventures channel made a breakthrough EVP session with a possessed doll named Lily. 3 times in a row, the same male voice speaks through the spirit box.
Hi, spirits. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you tell me the name of this doll? My name's Lily.
I think it even starts talking backwards here, which is something I've never heard a spirit box even do before, and also possibly evidence of a demonic ghost EVP caught on camera. The ghost hunter administers some more paranormal experiments, and Lily the possessed doll passes them all.
Can you show us an orb, please? Thank you. Can you show me your orbs?
A month later, he claims to have been possessed while investigating. He spends the night in his haunted attic, and his eyes open when the spirit box says awake. He looks around in a trance-like state for some time. Notice how the ghost meter stays maxed out for over a full minute, beginning at 1 minute and 7 seconds, and continuing until the moment his head hits the pillow at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, at which point the lights go out entirely, as if the demon has left. Was I possessed, he later asks, and I think most of us will agree that yes, he was. You have probably heard that name, as La Llorona has become quite the legend, especially in Mexico and Latin America, where this video has been getting a ton of attention. This clip, which has been racking up millions of views, appears to be a forest cam video. You can see a figure slowly move across the forest with very slow movements, while many have claimed this is the infamous legend. The flickering effect of the video makes me question the authenticity of it. Nevertheless, even the slightest possibility of this video being real is enough to make it impossible to look away from. Julia Merfeld gets into a stranger's car and they introduce themselves.
So, I guess you got a little business to discuss?
She is interviewing a hitman for hire. They discuss payment, a good date and time, and the target, Jacob, her husband. The conversation becomes increasingly creepy as they get into the finer details of the job.
You don't want him to suffer, so I'll make it quick and clean. Perfect. I mean, I can do it any way you want me to, but I just want to know how you want it done.
Really, whatever's easiest. If you can get him outside, that would be great. Because it would be messy in the house.
They later have a second meeting finalizing the plan. After showing the hitman a picture of the target, Julia starts talking about why she is having this done.
As terrible as it sounds, it was easier than divorcing him. You know, I didn't have to worry about the judgment of my family. I didn't have to worry about breaking his heart. Stuff like this is like kind of like a clean getaway. I mean, it's gonna.
I'm just gonna take him head on there, and I'm gonna shoot him right in the face.
Okay.
Little does Julia know that she is actually talking to an undercover officer, and these two videos contain all the evidence they need to put her away. The judge gave Julia a sentence of between 5 and 20 years. Let me know if you agree with this decision, or if you would have given a harsher sentence. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary 306, this short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first, but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? A YouTuber in Belgium has a ghost in the window. And when I say in the window, I mean literally.
This is my window. Strange. Go away. What is it? Go away. Spirit.
He's not running his finger up the blinds because there's a heavy curtain in front of it. So tell me if you think a ghost is moving objects like he says.
No wind.
Considering this is the only paranormal video he has, and the rest of his channel is about nothing but guitars, I think it could be real. Watch any episode of the reality TV series Most Haunted, and you're likely to see some paranormal events occur. After all, haunting is in the title, but one episode in particular seems to show the first ghost caught on camera in the 15-year history of the show, in which paranormal investigators pick over haunted sites. The episode in question was filmed at South Yorkshire's Wentworth Woodhouse. Built in 1725, the private country house was forgotten in the 20th century and is often called the greatest historic house that nobody has ever heard of. The ghost appears in the form of a man strolling through a dark corridor.
Okay. Come on, if you hit one. What's that? There. Carl, I can see it now. Go for it. I'm right behind you.
Carl, get your torch.
The show's host, Yvette Fielding, called it the most groundbreaking footage we have ever recorded. But rather than giving us the answer we were looking for, it just gave us more questions. Many claimed the footage was faked, while others said it supported the hypothesis that ghosts walk among us, but the cameraman, Carl Beatty, reaffirms that this was, in fact, real. We have never seen anything like this before. We really don't have an explanation for what we saw, he said, but the replay of the filming clearly shows the vision in detail. Spooky stuff, caught on live TV. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. There's nothing more disturbing than the sound of an unexpected and unknown siren. What could possibly be impending? A tornado tearing through the town? What are we being warned about? Posted by Epic Memer Boy 0123 to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes that he started to hear sirens randomly midday. In the clip, the sirens sound quite high-pitched, almost like a car horn beeping long and restlessly. Several in the comments suggest it's a test siren of some kind, either for tornado warnings or other emergencies. The Redditor clarifies that it lasted for around 10 to 15 minutes. Superman Connor writes, that definitely sounds too long to be a tornado siren then. When the Redditor mentions that a friend said it was an air raid siren, Superman responds those only last about 30 seconds. It seems the Redditor isn't the only one suffering from unknown siren syndrome. The Wastelander 96 writes, something similar happened near here a couple nights ago when the sirens just went off for like 10 to 15 minutes and then just stopped. Perhaps it is an emergency siren that they are testing, but for a different kind of emergency. Wonder what that could be. To kick off this entry, we enter the medieval old town of Edinburgh. The storied history of Scotland's capital lends itself to some truly legendary hauntings. This video illustrates that no matter where you turn in Edinburgh, you may find yourself face to face with the paranormal. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Rocket League RL. Something frightening is caught on film in this normal, everyday Edinburgh park. Even J.K. Rowling found ghostly inspiration in Edinburgh, citing the very real Greyfriars Kirkyard, where you will find some of her character names taken straight from the cemetery's very own tombstones. Needless to say, Edinburgh is the perfect scene for paranormal sightings, as this video goes to show, on the banks of a lake, across the jungle gym bars of a playground, a phantom woman appears to stand still as day turns to dusk. Apart from the ghastly image of this figure stood unmoving there, strange incoherent sounds are heard throughout the clip. Is this a case of Edinburgh's terrifying history come to life? Or are our eyes deceiving us? This clip shows a normal psychedelic filter, the electric color surrounding the girl in frame. She then turns her camera to span the room. The filter follows for a moment before becoming absent from the shot, as the room is empty. Or is it? The person detecting filter appears to detect someone in the chair sitting opposite. No one is there, and yet the silhouette of a human form starts to appear in the shot in shocking black and white. It seems to be seated in the chair. The girl turns the filter back to her face, and the shocking figure follows, blending into the psychedelic filter colors around her again. Redditor Hydra Wrench 97 is both tentative in jumping to the paranormal and rightly creeped out. She writes, "Usually these Snapchat filter ghost clips are glitching and basically the camera falling for pareidolia, but this one is weird. Might just be the spookiest glitch ever, but it is very weird and would scare me if that was my living room. Maybe it sees something we don't." One of the most fearsome visions of a shadow person ever caught on camera. This clip will have any skeptic questioning things. Originally published by Ghosts of Carmel, Maine, this scary video was captured by its haunted homeowner. As the homeowner enters a bedroom, a full shadow figure is seen sitting on the bed, outlined by the light from the window. The man panics and steps out of the room for a moment. A split second later, when he returns, the figure has vanished. Are you convinced of the existence of shadow figures? I am. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, "Me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices. You can hear there's someone in there. This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them. Rubble on the ground, but in the far room the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place." Filmed at the Holy Love Apparition site, the video shows two statues in a field backlit by the sun. Those getting the footage get closer to the statues. In the close-up, the statue's eyes appear to be blinking. While it could be an effect on the sunlight, it looks like the statue is legitimately opening and closing its eyes. Of course, there are some believers in the comments, and then there are some doubting the whole incident as well. So YouTubers, is this a miracle or just an optical illusion? A YouTuber named Stephanie Famelli hears screaming coming from her daughter's school bus. Multiple kids shouting at the top of their lungs, not necessarily for help, but completely terrified from the sound of it. The driver is shouting something back at them, but to no avail. She creeps up on them without making a sound, but just when Stephanie is about to see for herself what the screaming is all about, the bus suddenly pulls away around the corner, kids yelling all the while, "Bye bye, bus." Be quiet. According to her daughter, the kids were screaming that for no reason other than to make the driver mad, but we all know that sometimes kids will make up stories when the truth is too uncomfortable to say, and considering the bus driver was replaced soon after, who knows what was really happening in there. A YouTube channel called Sailing Latitude is boating around the Italian island of Sardinia when a freak lightning storm breaks overnight, forcing them into survival mode. They try to outrun the storm at first, but the winds are much too strong and soon lightning is breaking directly overhead. Aside from getting zapped, a single bolt would be enough to fry their navigation equipment and leave them completely stranded at sea. The experienced navigator is able to visually estimate 2 areas where lightning is striking the most, and they sail between these 2 areas skillfully. In other words, they basically have no choice but to steer between 2 storms, and in doing so they almost get trapped in the storm multiple times, like here at 10 minutes and 15 seconds for example. To make matters worse, the winds could change at a moment's notice and bring the storm clouds even closer. Somehow they just barely managed to sail through the little pocket of clear weather, well flanked between 2 storms. Hours later, a calm sunrise greets them, as if it was all just a bad dream. 2 hikers are alone in the woods when they hear this startling noise.
My phone's about to die anyway.
There's a couple things that make me think that this video could be fake upon closer inspection. Listen to what he says after he hears the noise.
I don't want to be out here with no phone. So there it is again, do you hear that?
I mean, if I had just heard something that was that loud, I don't think I'd ask the person next to me if they heard it too. It seems like an obvious question.
Maybe if we just went a bit further up, we might see something.
Also, sometimes the mysterious sounds don't seem to match their reactions. Like here, for instance, she asks, "What was that?" when nothing was playing.
What was that?
Sometimes they talk during the noise too, which doesn't seem realistic because most people would probably stop talking and just listen. Tell me if you agree with this logic or not. Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. This bar ghost is one angry customer, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazie Malith. The redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazie adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. A YouTuber named Florida McKee uses Google Maps to hone in on a frozen discovery in Antarctica.
You have to look at this very closely.
Peeking out from the middle of a frozen pond is what appears to be a sentient ice creature. I can somewhat make out a giant head and left arm, but I'm not sure. Let me know if you can see it.
This is only about 170 feet long. So this easily makes it very, very likely that it's a known animal, a known creature.
It's hard to tell if this is an actual creature or not just by looking at a single still image, but I do agree it could be some sort of abnormality. My only other guess is a cluster of ice above the surface. Here's another video from the mysterious Menger Hotel. A woman is bored and giving a brief tour of her room when suddenly a paranormal presence makes itself known.
Hello? Mike?
She waits for a tense moment, hoping that her boyfriend Mike is playing a prank nearby. When nobody answers her, she bravely opens the door and looks into the other room. Here's what she finds.
What? Nuh-uh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Something has dumped all of her possessions onto the floor in a quick fit of rage. While it's possible that she could have done this herself, it's also quite possible that this really was a paranormal encounter, especially when you consider that fires, missing things, and other strange happenings have become the norm over the years at this hotel, which was also built over the famous Alamo battle site. What is going on in this neighborhood parking lot? Ben Lewis shared this mysterious security footage to Facebook, which appears to show a semi-transparent child figure watch against the house in the center. A moment later, this happens. Did you see the building's light come on? I agree with many in the comments that say it looks like the child ghost is skateboarding. And apparently the place is said to be haunted by a child ghost named Emily, so I believe this is an open and shut case. Don't believe in unknown beings? What if one strolled right up to tap on your window? This unknown being footage, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by 77Curen, will inspire you to take a trip over to Area 51. The footage shows an unknown being approach the window of a home. Its features are quite clear, with black gashes for eyes and an elongated cranium. You know, the kind of features you might expect from an unknown being. The unknown being stands there, peering into the home, observing. It even looks as though it's trying to find a way to open the window. If that is indeed what it's doing, it doesn't succeed, instead slinking off, perhaps to find the homeowner to take him. What do you think of this unknown being footage, real or fake? Either way, I'll be locking my windows tonight.
I'm freaking myself out. Go away!
A Reddit poster named Drexana13 catches an invisible watcher using nothing other than the face detection software of her Snapchat filter. She says she could feel someone breathing on her, and this does seem likely because more than once, the spirit gets as close as it can to her. And it's practically right on top of her as she backs into the elevator.
No. No. I think a panic attack.
But is it really a teleporting apparition? Or is Snapchat mistaking the dark circular areas between these lights as eyes? I think it's up for debate, but this Redditor seems to have made up her mind. Oh, and one last thing. It may have climbed into the elevator with her. There's a white light here that might be the reflection of her phone screen, but the movements don't quite match. So what do you think it is? This video, which surprisingly only has around 80 views, allegedly shows proof of a mysterious dog-monkey hybrid posted by Bexon Production. An amateur cyclist was filming a bike ride with his GoPro on a small path near his home. Things are normal at first as he travels down the narrow path. Eventually, he crosses a bridge and travels the path between two cement walls. Just as he approaches this point, an animal jumps down from a tree and is nearly struck by the bike. In the description, the cyclist explains that he saw the creature in the tree before it jumped down, so he was able to avoid directly hitting it. A strange noise, similar to a croaking frog, is heard when the animal hits the ground. It's unclear if the animal made this noise, or if it was a result of the bike swerving though. When the footage is slowed down, the animal does resemble a monkey, but it seems too large. gray and almost hairless. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.